SeeJeanty, we're back at it again. Haiti Biz new show Sunday. As you guys know, you know what it is. And for those who don't, because we used to do the show every week. In fact, we used to do the show every day, in fact. But then schedules, things I'm working on got in the way. And then we moved to a week, and then we moved to a month, right? And so we're doing a month. So we got some folks who I'm sure may not know what this is. It's the Haiti Biz News Show, where we're focused on business, economic news, things that are happening in the country, both at the macro and the micro level, specifically because there isn't anywhere else that exists on the interwebs that gives Haiti a perspective of the only thing really that can advance it forward. You know, we're not on politics. We're not talking about cultural music, happenings. We're focused on the only thing that can really create opportunity and improve our people, right? Which is business and foster that environment. And we can only do that. We can only do that if we know what's going on and we have serious, earnest conversations about the way forward, giving the news and what's happening. Those who know that it's a one-man show on Sundays here, and so I have some stuff I got to do in the background to get the show ready. But I just wanted to get the show started, allow you guys to start piling in, coming in, give you guys some time to do that. So give me about 2-3 minutes, guys. We'll be back. The show will get started. And again, the usuals, I want to say a quick what's up. I see Daniel Dordard in the room. I see Neg Marron in the room. I see Maya Lambert in the room. Quick shout out, what's up? Happy to have you guys bright and early in the live cast today. All right, so we're going to be right back. Boom, we are back. Mike is not on mute. Welcome, folks. Welcome, folks. We're streaming on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, through Periscope, Instagram. We are coming through all the media channels. You know, if I had a spare phone, I'd probably do TikTok. Actually, I do have a spare phone. I may have to add a TikTok to the roster for next time. If it's a media brand, a social thing we're on, and Haitians are on it. Haitians, that if there's a media thing that exists and Haitians are on it, we want to be there, and we want to be the voice. We want to be helping spread and inform, right? If I was an iPhone user, Team Android, I'd be on Clubhouse as well. So yeah, whoever has an ear to the Clubhouse folks, get them on the larger tier of mobile users, which is Android. Get them to figure that part out. I'm not digesting, y'all. Excuse me. Now, the reason why we didn't show or start the show at 10 a.m. like I originally wanted to was I was munching on some soup jumu. I'm still digesting a little bit of it, so allow the blood to rush to other parts of the brain and mouth. I think as the show goes on, the lazy tongue will get its reps in and start functioning appropriately. But I want to say what's up to a lot of the folks that have come in while we were getting stuff ready. I want to say what's up to Jeff Morales, Nursing 101 RN. What's up? We got LM in the house. What's up? We have a few new folks, a few new names that I'm seeing here, like Malicia Milius. What's up? We got Sophia Portia. What's up? Bounce Bougie, veteran in the house. What's up? What's up? We got Randy Vincent, Philip Charles, veteran in the house. Happy to have you. Happy to see you. We got Pierre Delot, new name. Happy to see you. We got Black Caterpillar, new name in there. Happy to see you. We got Hans Haitian, new name as well. Happy to see you guys in the chat. We got Nate, Hooked on Haiti, is in the house. Happy to have you in the chat, Nate. IG, of course, we got to say what's up to a few folks in IG. As they pop in and hit me with the wave or a comment. I see IU Explorers in here. What's up? What's up? Right? We have a finger licking good 40 in the house. Give me a wave. What's up? How you got? Dave Shunge, brother-in-law. How you doing, brother-in-law? Happy to have you in the chat there. We got Bart Pierre 123 in here. We got Marjorie. Okay, it means to be Anne Marjorie. One of my favorite pages on IG, has some really interesting photos. Y'all make sure to go follow Anne Margie _. She's doing some really great stuff when it comes to pushing the imagery of Haiti. We got King James in the house. What's up, man? Happy to have, not that King James, just so happens to have the same name, right? So as usual, just want to let folks know what's going on here. We have a Haiti Biz news show, the show really focused on providing a business and economic focus on what's happening in the country. Every other place that exists on the interwebs focuses on politics or things related to music and the events, the Paris Hiltons of Haiti, really things that have absolutely no relevance in terms of what's going to happen tomorrow. Don't get me wrong, I enjoy my compa, but I'm more focused on, informing folks so a macro change can happen through micro action, right? And the focus of the show is the biggest aspect of being able to do that, which is informing us, right? Per usual, I always want to jump in and changer langue en créole bien rapide parce que m'a peut-être trop parce que m'ga du bigo critique m'kon joindre c'est que puis que ça va faire ça en créole. Derrière pour nos bagages, nous avons un autre canal qui est SeeJeanty en créole. Nous avons seulement 114 membres qui sont SeeJeanty en créole. Bon, je vais m'envoyer le link là pour nous kounya et je vais dire toute vidéo que m'a lagué pour toute année venir juste m'arrêter dans le link ça d'information online by ça yo et m'a toujours fait une copie, toujours fait des épisodes une en anglais, une en créole. L'autre bois parce que finalement si nous pas un impact dans haïtien yo qui est dans pays qui ont une préférence qui seulement vraiment une compréhension des créoles là on connaît faire il va vraiment frapper gens doit frapper c'est premier bail là deuxième bail là tout c'est que pour nous comprendre bien il y a pile respect pour langue créole là c'est un langage qui connecte nous toutes et haïtien qui en Chili, haïtien qui en Brésil, haïtien qui et Miami, haïtien qui au New York, haïtien qui Canada, haïtien qui à France, haïtien qui toute partie, comme on haïtien qui en Chine, qui a fait étudio, on de tout côté. Et c'est ça qui connecte nous vraiment après histoire nous, c'est langage nous. So, mon dit, j'ai peu respect pour lui. Comme on demande pourquoi ça m'a fait dans le langage créole là, c'est pas parce que m'a respecté en pile, mais simplement faut connaître et langage business, c'est anglais lié. Faut nous comprendre ça. Langage business, c'est anglais lié. Soit c'est on show qui construit sur business, ça c'est premier barre là. Deuxième barre là tout c'est qu'il faut connaître du monde qu'en Haïti, spécifiquement en contexte, ça y joint dans anglais et avec ça qui a porté dans anglais. Et c'est la raison que quand dit on Haïti premier ba yo ba on ti figue yo ti aïe qui ça ba yo l'autre bois parce que toute information que yo joint c'est sous des mauvaises images que CNN avec Fox News, avec Vice News, avec Miami Herald à bayo et c'est important que nous ayons contrôle des narratifs ça avec plus gros gens qui contrôle narratif ça c'est qui gens c'est en anglais. OK et puis finalement raison me faire en anglais c'est parce que me dit comme monde qui grandit l'autre bois pour comme ça me grandit à États-Unis même dans fait Haïti me grandit l'autre bois depuis 3 ans juste me retourner à Haïti parce que 4 ans c'est que pas jamais joindre bail qui dans langage que frère moi parce que me grandit même grandi à là même fait toute instruction tout bail professionnellement tout regarder TV regarder movie tout ça c'est en anglais on toujours à chercher un bail tout pour ça me gagne là qui te bail des informations des images dans anglais. OK so a fini finalement soit font bail faut faire bail là pour tout a fini so me fait tout ça m'a fait franchement aussi parce que m'ba joindre ça me développe chercher pas monde qui plaint pas monde qui dit que c'est gouvernement qui impose c'est white supremacy qui repose qui empêche image ça sur et réseau yo pas monde qui mettait blame sur l'autre bagage so mon problème dans me faire afin c'est lié sans monde ton commun Haïti t'a ouais haïtien comme mon peuple comme mon monde t'a loin men et peut-être quelques monde ça là regarder là mais concentration c'est toujours sur action oui so voilà so 3 ans ça me fait en anglais m'a fait en créole même penser que au cas ouais que me dégager en créole là si me dégager faire comme ça fait toujours dire mon yo tout jour que au cas montrer mon monde qui a fait même pas là m'a fait en anglais n'a bien content quitter excusez-moi yo voilà même si je vois un monde qui a fait l'anglais n'a bien quitté anglais pour me faire tout bail en créole parce que franchement ma gars assez chance pour me parler même vivre dans le pays ma gars chance pour me parler créole là OK et ça m'a bien content que les gars fait toute émission en net en créole so nous you know nous qui a critiqué qui a dit pour ça en anglais jouer au monde payer au monde faire au monde faire l'anglais bien content faire en créole en net OK so that was a little disclaimer. As always, I always try to give Creole the respect that it has for us, and I tell and I explain folks why in Creole that we do this show in English, and the short of it is we it has to be done in English, right? We have the control of the narrative. Folks who are abroad, they get their information in English about what's happening. There is no other place for it. Secondly, English is the language of business. Secondly, and third off, I never saw imagery like this growing up in the States, and someone needs to do it. And since I'm not one who blames or passes the buck. I see a problem and I do it. I wish there was more people in the Haitian community like that. There are a lot of us actually, but there needs to be more. I just did it. All right, so that's a little Creole at the top of the hour. I was always at a drop for folks who are probably going to come in late and they'll be asking why exactly what we're doing here is in English. Now, per usual, again, just know we try to do this once a month on Sundays, usually between 10 11 a.m. or so is when it is. So always look out. Make sure you're following me on Instagram and YouTube and be subscribed. I always let you guys know when the show is coming, right? Always look out for that. By the way, even when we're not on online and we're talking about these like we used to do every week, there's a lot of different places you can stay informed and get impactful info. For example, I just dropped in YouTube and Facebook, SeeJeanty shop. came out with a book called 101 Ways to Make Money in Haiti, Lucrative Business Ideas, insightful success stories, interesting business opportunities for visionary entrepreneurs. Right now, it has 5 stars on Amazon, 5 stars, multiple reviews. Folks who have read it are appreciating the information that's there. If you haven't picked up a copy yet, do pick it up. I have a lot of folks who DM me, a lot of folks who want to talk to me, which is great. But the thing is, you have to understand, I run 6 businesses in Haiti. I'm married. I try to have a bit of a social life. I'm moving up and down the country, shooting new videos and new content. I'll be honest, guys, I don't have time to talk to you. Please understand that. I am not going to talk to you. But I've created content like my book that answers, I promise you, 99% of what you're trying to talk to me about. I've put it in that book because I've gathered, folks, everyone's asking me the same questions. Your question is not unique, right? And so I've gathered all those questions folks have asked me, in addition to providing a guide in terms of for how to be successful business-wise. 1/3 of the book is focused on providing the same questions you're going to ask me. Hey, DM me. I gotta talk to you privately. Give me some time. It's in the book. Go check out. It's only $10, by the way. It's $10. It's $10 on Amazon. And I did it specifically because I don't have time to meet with the hundreds and dozens of folks who are asking for my time, right? So please, I'm not trying to make money off you guys. I'm really not. It's just literally, here's a resource, and the money that I do receive, it helps do more content. It helps do more things within the sphere of SeeJeanty Media, because it's not just me. I have a team I'm supporting when we go out. There's gas, there's food, there's hotels, there's lodgings, there's paying for events, and all that goes into I don't pocket any of it. I promise you, none of it stays in my pocket, and the more money I get, the more I can give my team raises, give them, really support for their work that they're helping me do. So anyways, that book's there, right? And those who want to meet up with me, just know I can't, right? And the one reason why we do these live shows specifically, I can do this in other mediums, but I do take time and read some of these comments. So that's one avenue where folks can talk to me. And if, it's always better to talk to me through these more public mediums, because other people are able to gain insight and gain from our conversations that I'll be honest with you, you're asking me the same questions 10 other people are going to be asking me, right? So other people are able, those other 9 people can gain those insights and those questions. FYI, there's an action group because again, we're not doing this every Sunday anymore. I don't like that we're not doing it every Sunday. I do have a vision for Haiti Biz News that we're going to be, much more larger than we are currently, and we'll be able to have actual journalists talking to you guys and keeping you guys updated. So that's going to come, knock on wood, soon, right? But just know that there's an action group. I'm in an action group. I'm commenting, I'm posting things in an action group, and that's really a space. For me, it's for you guys to continue the conversation, continue to focus on, what's happening in Haiti, but keeping a perspective of action. Keeping the perspective of, how can we work together, collaborate to impact and share success stories and really give ourselves an encouragement. It's a community group on Facebook. I just dropped the link in WhatsApp and within Facebook. Go ahead and go there, follow. It's free, right? No charge there, right? Also, for those who want to be provided a bit more deeper engagement in a community that's growing tremendously, I'm also dropping a link to the private WhatsApp group. The private WhatsApp group is really it's sort of a I hate to say it like this, it's sort of a ghetto Patreon, right? It's a way for folks to who really, because I have folks currently who like what's going on here, who say, hey, I want to contribute, I want to provide, I want to really support what's happening here because I don't see it's happening anywhere else, and we want this thing to grow and be impactful. And so the private WhatsApp group is a space. We're pushing somewhere around 25 people who are in this WhatsApp group. We're talking, we're having insightful conversations. And what's most importantly, I'm in that group. I'm providing, everyone who's in there has my full attention. Like folks who really want to talk to me, the best way to do so is to join the private WhatsApp group. You know, I know a few of my members are watching this live right now. You guys, if I'm calling, if I'm full of crap, y'all let folks know I'm full of crap. But you know, folks who are in that questions they're asking get answered, you know, relatively quickly. Not only for myself, but the other action focused people who are in that group. We have an attorney over 25 years that's in that WhatsApp group that's providing real insight, real perspective on different aspects of how to be successful in there. So it's not just me providing my perspective, but an actual 25 plus year attorney that's in there as well. And it's really a space I wanted to provide ultimately what matters to me, which is attention to allow folks to maximize their chance of success. And that's the best compromise I could think of, which is let's get some folks in WhatsApp. Let's get other very productive people in this channel as well, and offer it to the folks who really are serious about what they're looking to do in Haiti. Because I'll be honest with you, a lot of folks who want my time aren't necessarily serious, right? And the folks there's a direct correlation between putting where your money is and putting your action is, and the folks who have put $20 a month towards their engagement and what they're looking to do in Haiti. Not only is it a psychological important boost to actually acting on what it is they want to do, right? But it also is a clear sign to me that this person isn't an idea person. I swear 9 out of 10 people who contact me, they have ideas, right? I'm only interested in connecting with action people who have done things, who are doing things, who will do more things, right? And the WhatsApp group is a fantastic filter because everyone who's in there are action-focused people, and I appreciate that. So again, that link, I'm gonna drop it one last time because I really do want folks who are action-minded. I want to connect with the action-minded people to consider the WhatsApp group, and of course, you're helping support directly with what's happening in the country, right? I want to give a shout out to Appley Joseph, who just gave us $10. You know, any amount, maybe 99 cents, whatever it is, goes to the war chest of doing stuff here on SeeJeanty Media. So shouts off to Apple Josely. And he says, many people would love to come to Haiti, but rent, mortgages, student bills, that makes it impossible for them to entertain the idea. Any suggestions? A great question. I'll answer really quickly. I didn't come to Haiti until I was fully debt free. In fact, I share the story quite a bit. In fact, there's a podcast that if you guys are really interested, I spent about 40 minutes with Madame Jacques earlier this week talking about my story, about my past. And one of the things that I had to do was become debt free. I focused for over 3 years. I slept on my own couch. Believe it or not, I rented out I had 2-bedroom, 1 bath. 2 bath. I rented out both rooms. I slept on my own couch while I worked a regular 9-to-5 job in South Florida, and then I would work. For the moment I get off at 5, I'd work as an Uber driver. You hear me? I work as an Uber driver from 6 to 11, and on the weekends I do Instacart and then do Uber. Right, all with the focus of getting down about somewhere around $80,000 to $90,000 worth of debt. Right, between car loans, student loans, etc. Right, and there's no shortcuts, guys. There's no quick rich scheme. You know, there's just hard work. There's just people who are serious. Some people who make excuses and blame others for their situations, and there's people who take responsibility for their situation and act. And I've always been the latter, right? And so that's the tip I can give you, Appley Joseph. For those who are in a tough situation, I highly suggest that they go and sort out their situation, so they can impact, and it can impact the right way, right? And that's the best answer I can provide to you. And finally, I think I have the episode finally pulled up. All right, here I'm dropping it now on the YouTube and on Instagram. It was with Madame Jacques. We had a great conversation. It's in Creole, by the way. It's in Creole. We had a great conversation. So do go check that out. I really appreciated the conversation we had. And for those who are really looking to get a little more insight of my background, how I was able to get to Haiti to do what I'm doing, I appreciate Madame Jacques for giving me the platform to share my story in a way where I usually don't have I don't usually don't sit and just do so as easily. As I mentioned before, shout out. I want to say shout out. We're at 12,000 subscribers on the YouTube channel now. Wow, 12,000 subscribers on the YouTube channel. So a lot of the new folks who may be coming in, I want to say what's up, welcome. I appreciate you guys. As a reminder, again, let me drop one more time the SeeJeanty on Creole channel. I want folks to go over there, give it a subscription. For those particular who would prefer Creole, right? Again, for those who watch me on IG, all the links that I'm referring to, if you want to switch over to YouTube or Facebook, my name is the exact same way, SeeJeanty, right? And you can get these links. And in today's episode, we're going to have a lot of documents I'm going to be providing to the audience who are watching as it relates to the news stories I'm sharing. So you probably do want to maybe have both going or switch over so you guys can keep up, right? As per usual, you're my co-host. Everyone here is my co-host. As we talk about these different subjects and these different topics, leave a comment. Those that are appropriate, I'll try to read real quick on air. So do leave a comment, and of course share the stream. Let's get some more folks in here. I have 72 folks right now. I'm seeing on Facebook and YouTube. I have about 13 on Instagram right now. Let's see if we can double that. Let's see if we can get it up to 130 or something. Let's see if we can get it to 150, maybe even, right? And the way we can do that is if the 70 folks are watching, say, you know what? I know a guy who would appreciate what we're going to be talking about today. Let me share it. Let me drop it on my Facebook profile page. Boom, let me drop that. Oh, I know a group that could really, Haitian group, a Haiti focused group, business group that could appreciate the conversations we're going to have today. Let me share that really quick before the start, right? So, I'm challenging you guys who are watching right now to share it. Let me send this to let me text the link real quick to a friend I have real quick. Boom, send it out there. All right, let's get some more folks in here because these conversations are needed to be had at a educated and a productive level, right? So what are we going to be talking about today? Let's talk about some of the headlines before I get into the details of the headlines. So we're going to be talking about COVID, right? There are some updates that I'm going to be providing as relates to COVID in Haiti. Carnival happened shortly after we were on air last time, and so I want to talk about some of the things that have happened. The Constitution, the preliminary draft of the Constitution is out, and we're going to be talking about what's in there. Now, let me just jump in and say really quick, we're going to be doing about 2 weeks, a special live just for the Constitution. Because I really, I haven't had time to really dig into it the way I want, but I got the big high level bullet points we're going to be talking about today, right? So look out for that. But then we're going to have a special live show just on the Constitution to talk about. I know it's something that's a lot of diaspora, a lot of folks are thinking about, talking about, want to learn about. But as a associate of mine's told me, Clubhouse is a very popular place where these conversations are happening. And it seems every other person says, well, I haven't read the Constitution yet, but here's my opinion. I've researched quite a bit of what's in there. And then the live show is me fully having time to dot my I's and T's and really get into that conversation. I invite folks who also, I'm going to be sharing the link for the preliminary draft of the Constitution when I get to that news story. And I invite other folks who've read it to also come in and chime in on their opinion. So let's look out for that announcement. Make sure you're following me on Instagram and Facebook so you know when that show is happening. Elections. We're going to talk about that. There's some developments on that front. The Dominican Republic. There's some stuff happening as relates to the Dominican Republic and the Haiti relations. For example, there's hospitals that are about to be built. What hospitals about to be built by the Dominican Republic government? So make sure you stick around for that. That's a credible story. But on the flip side of that coin, they're building a wall. Yeah, this isn't Trump and Mexico. This is DR and Haiti, and there's some wall talk, and we're going to dive into that, right? There's some developments happening by some Haitian entrepreneurs in DR as well. We're going to be talking about that. The exchange rate, we got to talk about the exchange rate. Got to talk about it. It is going in a direction where, if you guys been watching me long enough, you guys know it's going the direction where I knew it would be, right? Inflation is happening. We're going to be talking about the inflation figures and how that's looking like. Local aid and business development, right? There's some major news as relates to manufacturing and some things happening in the cosmetic space we're going to be talking about. The Digicel Foundation are doing some really interesting things we're going to be talking about today. The Digicel Just also has done something in terms of schools. We'll talk about that. A new school's been built. We'll be talking about that. International aid from the USAID, from the European Union, the United Nations, to the European Development Fund, right? Through the World Bank, if I didn't mention that already, right? Through the French Development Agency, right? There's some things happening on international aid front that we're going to be talking about today. So make sure you stick around for that. Agriculture is important. Agriculture is really important. We're going to be talking about that today. A lot of different things happening on multiple fronts from that perspective. Barbecues are going to be talked about and mentioned about some of the things they got going on there as well. All right, so look out for that. Free zone, the free zone in Haiti, still making waves, still making news, right? And so we're going to be sharing the perspective of the official landowners who have been a part of this landmark free zone deal. And of course, we're fair and balanced here. And so we have a group who is very much against this free zone, and we're going to be talking about their recent write-up and their article. So look out for that, right? And then of course electricity. There's been some developments there from that perspective we're going to be talking about, right? And then finally, we're going to wrap it up with sports, right? There are some important sports stories because sports is an important economic instrument in any developed countries. So we're talking about some interesting aspects that are happening on the sports front. So as you can see, we have a episode chock full. You hear? Chock full of news. So again, if you haven't shared this video yet, make sure you share it so we can get folks in here, get them informed, right? And impacting the right way in the most appropriate way. Okay, sounds good? Really good? All right, let me take a quick sip of my water and we're gonna jump into it. All right, here we go. So first news story has to do with COVID. First news story has to do with, actually, let me take a quick pause. I saw a comment in there. Football TV says, subscribe to the WhatsApp group channel. How do I access it? And now I'm not sure when you subscribe to Football TV. If you subscribe right now, then you're gonna have to wait until the end of the episode for me to respond to you, right? But if you've done it earlier, then you're gonna have to let me know. Because what happens a lot of times is we send the response to be a part of it, and it goes to your spam. It goes, I don't know, the email that's associated with your PayPal is maybe an email you haven't checked. You don't check, right? And so, that's the best I can tell you. Do send me. I sent you my email, and so if it's something you've done previously over the past few days and you still haven't gotten your welcome email, go ahead and football. Make sure you identify yourself, otherwise you'll be ignored. But football, make sure you identify who you are, and then let me know when you've subscribed to the group WhatsApp channel, right? And if it's during this live, you're gonna have to wait until we finish so you can get your welcome email. Okay, so thanks for that, Football TV, and I look forward to having you in the channel. All right. So again, go back to the first news story. COVID. All right. The big thing is, of course, the numbers for Haiti have still remained pretty much flatlined in terms of new COVID cases, despite the very large influx of the diaspora coming in, right? So knock on wood, the ancestors have been protecting us. Just know, though, the big news stories that we're sharing today has to do with the fact that when you're leaving Haiti, you have to get your COVID test, right? And so those who are in the Port-au-Prince area, I'm sharing a PDF, right? I'm sharing a PDF directly from the Minister of Santé Publique that has the location of several official testing clinics within the West Department, Haiti-Bonite, West Haiti-Bonite, and one more place, Santo Plateau, exactly, Santo Plateau, where you can get your COVID test, right? There's also some places in Cap-Haïtien as well, FYI. I didn't get a chance to put that together, unfortunately, but there are some places in Cap-Haïtien. If anyone in the chat right now can provide it, please do. And I'll follow up with that, by the way. I'll follow up. That's one reason you want to be in the action group, We've been talking about the places you can go to get your COVID test for quite some time. So do make sure you're part of the action group, though. That's where that sort of information sharing happens, right? So go to the action group, and that information is currently still posted. When you get joined in there, type in Cap Haitien, and you'll get that specific line of information where you can get your COVID test for Cap Haitien. All right. And so I shared that link for you guys. Feel free to download it, and you'll see where exactly for the West, Central Plateau, and Artibonite, where to get your COVID test. All right. Sounds good. So moving on, Carnival happened, right? And it was mostly a success. There wasn't major incident that happened during the event, right? We had Bookman Experience participate, équipe, Jakut, Rockfam, T-Vice, Mascanpa, Zico, Campéché, Harmonique, Buzz Phantom, Kizik Music. They all participated. And in the event, those who participated did say it was a fun and relatively organized and safe event within the Port-au-Paix area. It happened in Port-au-Paix. That was actually the first national Carnival that happened in 2 years. The past 2 years have been, it hasn't happened. And this year it was able to happen. I know a lot of folks have critiqued the event, right? How dare they, do a mass super spreader event? How dare they, right? I had a guy who said, I'm not investing in Haiti. I'm not investing in Haiti because, how dare the government, do a super spreader event? Meanwhile, right now on South Beach, there's more people on South Beach congregating, right? But let me not go there. let me not go there. Let me give you guys some context, okay? On any given day, all across Haiti, there's more people congregating in tight areas on any given day in Haiti than what happened at the Carnival. And you're like, what do you mean? What do you mean, Chris? What do you mean? Have you ever been to Petroville Marché? The Marché just south. Those who've made the mistake of going up Route Delma on the way to Oasis and had their car going. It was supposed to be a 2-lane, but now it's in 1 lane because there's so many people, right? Marchands selling different things. The way folks are congregated into these tight quarters. On any given day, there's folks in tap-taps, right? On any given day, the other marchés across Port-au-Prince, across Titayan, all across the country, where folks are in tight spaces, negotiating, talking with each other, right? No masks, right? On any given day, there's easily 2 to 3 times more people doing unsafe COVID things in this country than what happened in Carnival. Now, I'm not necessarily justifying the Carnival because the counter argument is, well, Chris, come on now. It's a state-sanctioned thing that they were doing. I mean, the president was there. Come on. There's a difference between people having to live their life, right, and versus the state woefully choosing to hold an event that could be a mass spreader. I get the counter argument, but just understand my perspective, right? I hear what you're saying, right, and I recognize it, but also try to recognize what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, every single day, there's 2 to 3 times more people congregating in tight spaces in this country than what happened at the Carnival, right? And Haiti has still had some of the lowest rates of COVID deaths and infection in the world, right? And why that is, scientists are still scratching their head, right? Listen, though we all know what it is. Janjam, all that stuff, years of, being battered by different things in this country, have made potentially us to be a little bit genetically stronger, right? Also, we're a very young population in Haiti, right? The vast majority of Haitians are between 20 and 35, right? Almost 60% or some crazy number of Haitians are very young, right? And so the combination of those things, are very herbalistic way of treating ailments. And as you know, one of the first things people tell you when you get sick with COVID, take a lot of tea, take a lot of warm water. That's what Haitians do right away for everything, right? That's number one. Number two, it's a very young population, very young population. Understand that, right? And again, I want to say there's a degree of resilience amongst Haitians, given that we're very much exposed to the elements, is the way I want to word that, right? So that's my take on the Carnival, right? And what happened, right? So let's move on to the next news story. The Constitution, right? The Constitution, right? Let's talk about it, right? So on February 27th, the preliminary draft of the new Constitution came out, right? The preliminary draft of the new Constitution came out. And what I want to do is, first and foremost, before I even get into it, what I want to do is, okay, my bad. I thought I put in my notes. What I've done is I've put in one location the Haitian draft Constitution, in addition to the English draft of the Constitution, in one place for you guys. And I did it just for you guys watching, right? I haven't shared it anywhere else yet, except for those in the private WhatsApp group. They've had it since last night. But here you go. This is a folder Google Drive link. Again, by the way, it's for those watching on IG. Again, you probably want to switch over to YouTube and Facebook to get this link. And in this folder, guys, that I'm sharing right now to you, you have the French version of the preliminary Constitution. And I haven't done anything fancy in terms of getting it to English. I just, Google has a translator where you can load documents, and Google will translate it to English for you. That's how I did there. And I put that version in a PDF form in this folder as well. So those my English speakers, you have that, right? And so you guys have now access to the preliminary draft of the Constitution. Now, how much this is going to change, we don't know yet, right? Right now, there's a schedule from now through about late April that basically has the Constitution going to make its rounds to different places within Haitian society, both domestically. You go through different cities. Actually, there's forums that are happening abroad, where the electoral commission in charge of this new Constitution is supposed to be taking feedback and input on this Constitution, right? And so, first and foremost, before you can participate in these things, make sure that you read it. Don't be like your local clubhouse correspondent. You know what? I haven't read the Constitution yet, but here's my opinion. Don't do that. Actually, try to read it, and now you have it, right? By the way, there is a Creole version. I just want to say that there's a Creole version out there. I haven't seen it yet. If you guys have seen it, please provide it to me so I can put this in this folder for my Creole speakers. I can also have access. And that's, by the way, that's an official. I mean, I could have just easily translated in Creole, the French to Creole, but that's not the official version. There is an official Creole version, and I just don't have access to it right now, right? But if those who do, feel free to share the link, or let me know directly somehow, and I will download it and put it in that folder for us, right? There is a schedule. And let me try to get the schedule for you guys. Here we go. Let me see. This is link. There's a schedule where, I think this is the link. Let me double check for you guys here, where there's supposed to be forums happening. And let's see here. Okay, yeah, here's the schedule. Right, there you go. Right, and that's the schedule where different forums are supposed to happen. And so try to. The one that makes sense for you guys to participate in, to try to do so, right? And so let's talk about what's in there. Let's some high-level bullet points of what's in there. And these high-level bullet points are courtesy of a news story that came out relating to a poll that happened of 2,476 Haitian diaspora who were polled about their perspective of the Haitian Constitution. And it's done by the Office of Research in Informatics and Economics and Social Development, which is the pseudo-official polling arm of supposedly independent polling arm of the Haitian government, right? So take that as far as you want to. My experience with this organization, they have produced relatively fair polls in the past. But again, anything connected to the government, even though pseudo independent part of the government, you should read it accordingly. Okay. All right. So here are some of the big high level points coming out of this new constitution. Okay. Well, first off, apparently 87% of Haitian diaspora agree that we need a new constitution, right? And of course, you guys chime in whether you agree with the stats I'm giving you or not, right? If you think it's BS, write it in the comments. I'm curious to see if you guys believe these percentages or not, right? So 87%, I believe the Haitian diaspora are agreed to the new constitution. 62% are in favor of the new constitution's proposal to remove the prime minister and instead, and totally abolish it, by the way, abolish the post, right? So 62% are in favor, 37% are not in favor, okay? The next big point has to do is there's 81.6% respondents agree with the proposition of the new constitution to introduce a vice president, right, who runs on the same ticket as the president, elections, and effectively allows the president to be the chief of staff and operate the government. Because right now, the prime minister in the 1987 Constitution, the prime minister is the operator of the government, and is appointed by the president, or nominated by the president, and then ultimately appointed by Congress. We won't have that anymore. Parliament, right? We won't have that anymore, right? It will just be the vice president, just like we have it here in America. And 81.6% agreed to that change versus 11.4% who didn't. 68% of those surveys are in agreement to transform the parliament from a two-chambered entity to a single-chambered entity, right? A single-chambered entity. Now, I saw somebody in the comments say, "Oh, there's no Congress." Oh, there is. It's just a single chamber. It's a single-chambered, just with senators, right? And the deputies, and we're going to talk about that in a moment. But the deputies basically will become the magistrats. In other words, the governors of particular communes, right? And so this will be just a single chamber of legislation where laws are created, right? So let's see where we are. So yeah, 66.8% folks responded agreed versus 26.8% didn't, right? James Sito, interesting comment there. Believes 100% of us should be in favor. Fair enough. 75.9% those responded agree that the Constitution should allow the president to run for 2 terms, right? 75.9% versus 17.6% who didn't. 69% said that they should provide a single magistrate to function at the level of what previously was the AZEC and KAZEC within the Constitution, which was almost how do I describe that for you guys in America? Perhaps that's sort of in the level of sort of city commissioner, right? The city commissionership level of governance is what the KAZEC and IZEC were, right? Where IZEC, I believe, was one level above, the KAZEC was perhaps one level above, more at the municipal level of governance, right? So the new Constitution is going to remove that, right? And basically provide a single magistrate at the level of municipality, or several municipalities actually, to effectively govern at that level, right? And so 69% of folks agree, 20.2 do not agree, right? When it comes to discharge, and discharge, by the way, for those who don't know, if you served in the government in Haiti, per the 1987 Constitution, you're supposed to receive a documentation that validates that you're not a corrupt person, right? That the money you got in, was audited, and for every dollar that you got in, you can show where that dollar went, and you didn't pocket any of it, right? That's basically the idea of the discharge. It's supposed to be a way to discourage corruption, right? Unfortunately, it became a tool of corruption because the discharge was in the hands of Parliament, right? It wasn't, you had to get a vote in Parliament to say, hey, this person wasn't corrupt. And now Parliament is inherently a political entity, right? And so if you're going to put something with such importance, right, as, hey, is this person corrupt or not, into the very hands of those who are corrupt, you can see why, since we started applying this 1991 Constitution, there's been potentially just a handful. I don't want to go as far as saying none, but maybe a handful, 3, 2, maybe discharges that happened, right? And it's tremendous, a tremendous problem, because what happens is you have extraordinary productive individuals who've worked in government who now, because they don't have a discharge, they can never hold any political office in the country. They can't even run for president. They can't even run for another, position, in terms of magistrat or governor or senator, because once you've worked for the government and you don't have a discharge, you are not allowed to hold any other political office, which is insane. For example, I think everyone can say our former Minister of Tourism under Mateli, Stephanie Vildouin, was one of the best Minister of Tourism that we've ever had in the country, right? The work she did, and the visibility that she did, and the earnestness that she pulled to do her job. I'm pretty sure we all can say she did an exceptionally good job, right? And a lot of folks would love to have Stephanie Vildouin back as Minister of Tourism or something else, because since she showed her capacity as an able-bodied bureaucrat. We need more people like that. Guess what? Discharge, she may not have gotten it. And if she haven't gotten her discharge, she can never hold office, ever, right? Meaning good bureaucrats. And we really need good bureaucrats, right? Good government officials cannot come back and continue to impact and do things, right? And so the discharge is a massive problem, has been for a long time. Everyone knows it's been a massive problem. The fact that we have to use a revolving door of bureaucrats, right? And those who've shown that they're effective can't regain their office, which is insane, right? It's now going to be part not of Parliament anymore. It won't be part of the political one, but instead discharging of the responsibility of the Superior Court of Accounts Administration, right? In other words, the sort of Supreme Court, as it were, right? They're going to be in charge of providing the discharge, which I want to clap my hands to that. That is where it should be. It should not be. It should be part of a legal body, right, to do the review and have that responsibility, not part of the political body of Haiti, right? And so that's a change that we have over 88.8% of people agreeing to on the part of this poll, right? Additionally, we have 47.3% polled who are in favor of electing a deputy mayor and renewing all senators at the same time, instead of renewal of thirds, right? Because every 2 years in Haiti, there's supposed to be a new election, right? Which Haiti has never really done a good job of holding to that schedule, number one, right? Number two, that schedule for Haiti hurts Haiti tremendously because, these political actors are always in campaign mode, right? They're never in, okay, let's sit down and work mode. They're always in, hey, I'm going to sensationalize and campaign for this next 2 years and not do the work of executing and implementing laws that will advance and help us as a people and as a country, right? And so 47.3% of folks are in favor of holding a single election every 4 or 5 years, right? When everyone becomes dual, right? But this is also probably one of the slimmer margins, right? Because we have on the other side 44.1% of people who do not agree with that, right? Which is interesting, right? All right. And then we have 71.9% in the diaspora who intend to participate in the next election, which is a big deal, right? 71.9%, if they were to given the right to participate and preferably do it easy, right? Where you should be able to vote. You shouldn't have to fly to Haiti to vote if you're a Haitian diaspora. You should be able to go to your local Haitian embassy, your local consulate office, and file your ballot just like the people in Dominican Republic, right? Dominican Republic, they have polling places in New York. In fact, they have senators that represent Dominicans in New York and abroad, for example, right? And Dominicans are able to do that. And you can see the level of better governance that we've had because we have a government that fully embraces the inclusion of all its people and having to work for all its people. And it's worked for Dominican Republic. It should be able to work for us, right? So that's the poll. And going through the poll, I think I've provided you guys some big bullet points of what's in the Constitution, right? And we will, again, look out in about 2 weeks, look out for another live. We'll try to keep it about an hour live, and have these conversations, have a fuller, deeper conversation, a much more opinionated conversation about what's in the Constitution, right? So thanks for that. Thanks for listening to that. Let's move on to the next news story. Election. Of course, as you know, after the Constitution is supposed to be, the referendum is supposed to happen, there's supposed to be an election. Now, the United Nations has come out later in February to say that there was tremendous risk of millions, almost 2.5 million people potentially not being able to participate in the election because they don't have a SIN card, a CIN card, or a Demerlog card is another way it's pronounced. Basically, the card that allows you to vote in Haiti, right? It registers you as a Haitian national. It puts you on the electoral rolls and allows you to vote, right? It's estimated that if Haiti had kept its original schedule, which was by April 29, April 24, the referendum was supposed to happen, almost 2.5 million people would not have had their electoral card to be able to vote. And so the Haitian government pushed back the vote to June, just specifically to allow more people to be enrolled and to get their cards so they can vote, right? And by the way, those in the Haitian diaspora, just FYI, you can get your cards the moment you fly into the airport. They've set up registration booths at the airport for you to be able to get your electoral card so you can participate wherever you may be, right? Of course, what really is needed is a capacity for you to, be in Chicago, be in New York, be in Washington, go over to your local embassy. Hey, here's my information. Here's what proves that I'm Haitian. I'm of Haitian descent. And then you get your electoral card without ever having to fly into Haiti to start that process. And so perhaps that has changed, but I haven't seen any information of that. I know there was some talks and some propositions. For example, United Front of the Haitian Diaspora did have the ambassador, Ambassador Bouchit, part of their session through a live call that was open to anyone who was part of the United Front for the Haitian Diaspora. And I think that was one of the questions that were asked, right? The Spain, in another news story, has said that they've are producing much more electoral cards. They're working very closely with the Haitian government to provide more cards quicker for the Haitian government to participate. For those who don't know, the Demerlau card is being produced in Spain, or at least by a Spanish firm. And so Spain has come out and said we'll be working more aggressively to help Haiti and the Haitian government get more cards out through this firm that's helping facilitate things, right? Just want to quick. I want to see. I see in IG, All Things RM has asked me to host a room on Clubhouse. A lot of people talking about Haiti and love your point of view in some of these rooms. Absolutely, but unfortunately, Clubhouse has not come out with Android. I have an Android phone. The moment they've actually come out with the Android version, I do plan to be in Clubhouse more often. Right now, I only the 2 times I've been on Clubhouse is because I've been able to borrow my wife's iPhone and been on there. And so that needs to change in terms of the access for Clubhouse, because I'm team Android, man. I ain't buying no iPhone. So that's the answer. The answer is you guys aren't on Android yet. And once you guys are, I'll try to make more of an effort. I might even open up my own Clubhouse group, because the few places I've been in the Clubhouse, it just seems as if there's not many folks in Haiti leading these groups. No offense, but there doesn't seem to be a in Haiti perspective, particularly as it relates to business, right? And that's something that we would be pushing for whenever I am able to join Clubhouse. So just by the way, I am thinking about, and I am very cognizant of being engaged in Clubhouse, because I do know there's a lot of great conversations happening that I want to be a part of as time goes on. So that's as it relates to elections. The push for electoral cards are being much more aggressive, right? I see a question by JB more Brum really quick, asking about, can a naturalized American citizen participate in Haiti's new constitution proposal? And the answer is yes, right? You just gotta be of Haitian descent. Your mom or your dad have had themselves been born in Haiti, and you are able to participate not only in the referendum, but especially once the referendum is completed, you can then hold office potentially. But of course there's supposed to be a resident requirement in there. That's one of the first things I'm gonna be looking for within the draft constitution for our conversation that we're gonna have in 2 weeks on it. So look out for that, JB, and thanks for that question. All right, let's move forward. Now we have the Dominican Republic. Dominican Republic. Oh, y'all ready? The moment I promise you, when I say Dominican Republic, half of Saint-Domingue, their ears pick up. Like, wait a minute, we hear there's a Haitian somewhere talking about my country, right? They come in numbers, saying things, vamos, Spanish. Why do you hate our people? I don't. Listen, I don't. Please don't. I don't. I appreciate the passion of the Dominican people. If Haitians had half the passion Dominicans had, we would have a much better country. You cannot even utter Dominican Republic in a joking manner without Dominicans coming in saying, "Yo, who are you, son? What do you want?" Right? Ready to bust you in the mouth. So respect to Dominicans for that. I look forward to the day when Haitians have even 1/4 of the pride that Dominicans have in their country, and the absolute They do not accept anyone presenting images of their country in a negative light, right? Versus Haitians. Haitians tend to be the very first people who share. Look, Vice News. Vice News did a piece where they said Haiti's chaos. Look at this. Look. Haitians are the first people to share that. Meanwhile, Jamaicans would be the first to write a comment, send a letter, and say, hey, we didn't appreciate how you portrayed our country because there's more complexity to it. You don't know what's really going on. Here's the facts behind it. And here's why you should really mind your business, right? Because you don't know what the hell you're talking about. Jamaicans write this. I know for a fact I've had, when I mentioned Barbados, I've had countless Barbadians come in and say, yo, Chris, you need to mind your business. You don't know what the hell you're talking about. We don't appreciate you coming in as a non-Barbadian talking about our crap, man. You know, who are you? And Dominicans also come in very aggressively. Haitians never do that. Haitians are the first to respray negativity about ourselves and our country. And that before Haiti can change, that needs to change. You know, we have to take a bit of pride and then we take responsibility and say, hey, we know what's happening. We are going to fix it. Meanwhile, keep your mouth out of our business. This is a family affair. Don't talk about it. Let us handle it. Right. So Dominican Republic. Right. I got to put a little, asterisk before I start talking about Dominican Republic, because again, they will come at me. No matter how I talk about it, they will come at me. Unlike Haitians. So let's talk about it. So first off, President Abinar's plans for Haiti on February 27th, Dominican Republic, during a speech, sort of a State of a Union of sorts, President Abinar came out and said, there needs to be a new relationship between Haiti and Dominican Republic. President Abinar said specifically two things that are very much important for us, which is that first and foremost, the Dominican Republic are looking to take off a plan that's been long in the drawers, collecting dust, but looking now to execute it, which has been creating hospitals in Haiti for Haitians. Oh, wait a minute. People are like, wait a minute. What did he just say? I'm going to say it again. The Dominican Republic government is going to be sponsoring, constructing hospitals in our country. What? That's right. 4 towns are planned where this is supposed to happen. Malpas, Wanamet, Anze a Pitre. Okay, Anze a Pitre. From the change langage net. Parce que en anglais, Anze a Pitre. Pitre. Oh, Pitre, excusez-moi. Anze a Pitre. Okay, me dit bien konya. Anze a Pitre. All right. And then Belader. Okay. 4 hospitals are supposed to be built along the border, specifically to, yours here, Pruli. Hold on. How is it occupation? They're building hospitals and leaving. Anyways, they're building hospitals specifically. So there is a feeling amongst the Dominicans, the Dominican government, that there's a lot of Haitians coming to their hospitals. A lot of Haitians, some of them, a good amount of them, per the Dominicans, are poor and can't afford. MSC Steve Pierre, Anze Pet, excuse him, are coming and can't, they're pregnant. A lot of women are pregnant, and they're getting services in Dominican hospitals, and they're sucking out resources and capacity away from good Dominicans. And so that is the perspective. I always understand. I mean, behind every good gesture, there's the reason behind it. And while, yes, we appreciate in Haiti hospitals and maternity wards being built to service Haitians, we appreciate it. Understand the reason why is they don't want Haitians in their country getting medical services. So they're like, hey, we'll build hospitals so you guys can get service over there and not come over here. right? So what's your opinion on it? I don't know. Sound off. Let me know. Is that a good thing? Does the reason matter? If the effect is good, the effect is there's going to be hospitals in Haiti along the border, along places because just FYI, just know the border is very much neglected by the Haitian government. There's very little investment, very little things done, outside of the major cities in Haiti and the major agricultural zones like Cap Haïtien, Artibonite. But the borders are incredibly neglected by the Haitian government. Like they're literally, it could be their own country. I mean, that's how little engagement the government has with the provincial border towns of Haiti, right? And so the fact that these guys are going to be getting hospitals, right, by Dominican Republic, right, hospitals that you can potentially expect to be much better than what's here or would have been built by a Haitian government, right? I say this because we don't have one. How many hospitals have you heard being built by Haitian government, right? Haitian government, right? There's supposed to be a general hospital that's supposed to be under construction since the earthquake. It's 2014. We're in 2021. The general hospital is still not complete. Wow, right? And so the Haitian government, right? And a lot of folks will say, man, he's so pro pièce de cas, No, I know I'm pro whoever's doing development in the country, right? And as you can tell with these recent comments, when there's instances of non-development, I am very frustrated, and I do not speak well of the government. Now, if there's things happening that's positive, whoever's doing it, they're going to get positive coverage from me, right? So let's be clear. I want to be very clear. I just want to side note really quick. I am pro-development by whoever is providing the development, okay? So let's come back on topic. The Dominican Republic is building hospitals, right? Because they're tired of folks coming over and using their hospitals, Haitians in particular using their hospitals, right? So they're building on the border so that can stop. The second thing they're doing, they're building a wall. That's right. I said it. It's not Trump. This ain't Trump, right? Talking here. They're building a wall, right? You can just hear Lewis having it. They're bringing their dust people and their people. And so we're building a wall, right? But unlike Trump, the Dominicans are actually going to do it, right? They've already estimated it's going to cost them $100 million. $100 million to build this wall, right? It's going to stretch 190 kilometers along the border, right? Along the 391 kilometer border, right? Where there's water and lakes and tough mountains. They may not necessarily put, but certainly where the flat plains where it's really easy potentially to transgress. They're putting walls up, right? And it's a perimeter fence. And there's going to be cameras and other sophisticated technology along that wall to help monitor. And it's going to be companies. They're looking at companies in Israel and Spain to help construct that wall, right? And it's coming. One of the first speeches President Abiner gave had to do with the need for a wall, and they're going to build that wall. That wall is coming up, right? My perspective on the wall is thus that thanks. You know how much contraband, and by the way, folks who don't know what contraband is, it's basically any goods that come through that doesn't come through customs and doesn't get taxed, right? That's what contraband is. You know how much contraband comes through into the Haitian economy and hurts Haitian production? Do you know a lot of goods that come in and a lot of local production can't compete with the price points that they're providing, because customs specifically gives taxes on specific goods to assist our local production. And when those things are able to come through and not be taxed, it puts local production at risk, right? And I see somebody saying drugs. It's not, contraband is not drugs. Contraband is anything that is gotten through into the country through means that are not legal, right? So literally, like, there is contraband eggs, right? There's contraband mangoes. There's contraband liquor, right? Anything that comes through that isn't taxed the way it's supposed to, right? So I want to be very clear when I'm saying that. And it's great news. Great news. Honestly, build that wall. Listen, if I got a spare free day, I'll drive to the border and help the Dominicans build the wall. Honestly, I'll help them. I think I'll be quite honest with you. This is my opinion. You can have your opinion. I'm just giving you my opinion, which is the wall is needed to help with domestic protection of the economy, because the Haitian government cannot protect its borders. So if the Dominicans would do it for us, we'll take it. And I'll try to dedicate a day and buy some cement and help these guys out. Here's some cement. Build that wall, right? And allow the Haitian economy to actually have a chance to grow its own domestic production, because Dominican goods won't be flooding in and hurting it, right? So that's that news story, right? Additionally, there's an important news story that you guys have to know about relating to the amount of investment happening from Haitians into the Dominican Republic economy, right? Errol Bulos, I'm sure I'm missaying his name. Excuse me, Errol Bulos, ERROL. I'm not too clear how his relation to the Bulos we have here, Dr. Bulos that we have here, who runs Deli Mart. But I know he's a part of the Bulos family. I'm not sure. He's not Dr. Bulos's brother, because Wikipedia does list the brother of Dr. Bulos, the owner of Deli Mart, and Aurora isn't on that list. So I'm not sure the relationship between Aurora Bulos and Dr. Bulos, but they are related. And they've just put a $70 million. So This Is Haiti says I don't think so. This is Haiti. Go look on Reginald Bulos's brother's family, and you see Aurora isn't on there unless he has a different name on the Wikipedia page, anyways, right? So, anyways, if you guys have an article that clearly says Aurora is Reginald Bulos's brother, feel free and share it. I did my research. I didn't necessarily see that, right? And so they've got a $70 million investment. Haitian capital, by the way. This is Haitian money. I say Haitian money, from Haitians into the Dominican Republic. And and since 2004, the Aurora Bulos has been the owner of a free zone called Velaz Española, right? Since 2004. And one of his major companies is a candle. He makes candles, right? They've just recently done a massive expansion, $70 million, employing thousands of employees within the Dominican Republic, right? And they've made it clear, by the way, this is a shade, but not a shade, but is a shade, where in an announcement they said, hey, this 70 million is Haitian capital, meaning Haitian business people entirely put their money together and put this plant in existence in the Dominican Republic. And I got to tell you guys, that hurts. I hope it hurts you as much as it hurts me. That hurts to know you have Haitian business people, right, who could have invested in Haiti, right, but chose to invest elsewhere, right? Of course, it's very easy to vilify them. I see they're taking their earnings and they're putting it in this other country. You see there. I told you these elites are no good. I told you. See, proof. In the statement to why they invested in Dominican Republic, they said that they appreciated the help and assistance of the Dominican government in providing the incentives, the assistance, and the encouragement to invest in their country, in addition to other aspects that are important, in addition to ease of business, in addition to security, in addition to other aspects that many of us have been asking for a very long time to be able to do investment in Haiti. The Dominican government really has bent their backs backward to provide, and not just to them. Anyone trying to do major, massive investment in the Dominican Republic, the government will fight uncorruptively to make sure you're set up and successful. I can tell you, again, folks will understand that I've never in a single day gave you a different idea of Haiti than what it is. I've just tried to provide a more complex, fuller picture. I've never hid that it's very difficult to do business here in Haiti. I hope you guys who've been following me long enough appreciate this. I've always said that the businesses I run, I fight against the Haitian government to be here. That's crazy. I just want to stay here for a minute before I move to the next news story. I have to fight the Haitian government to provide the jobs and the investment that I do. The DGE views me as a cash cow. Oh, this guy's coming in. This Creole is a little funny. Bank time. Let's put him to the side room. Let's have a conversation about how I can make some money in my pocket. I share this story because this happened to me, which is why I don't go to the DG myself. I send people. I am on month 3 of registering a corporate entity. We're getting to the finish line, right? But month 3 of registering a corporation, right? Paying my electricity bill for my company, it's a fight. Every single aspect of doing business in this country is a fight. And God forbid I go and speak and sit down with a mayor of this country, a deputy or a senator. God forbid I do that, because that's when I really become a target. That's when I really become, oh, we got a diaspora investing. So yeah, I can help you out, man. Yeah, man. So listen, here's what I need on the side to make it happen, right? Investment still needs to happen, guys, because that's the only way we can ever change the ecosystem of this country. Despite the incredible challenges, we have to work together within the diaspora to maximize our chance of success, to provide support for one another. I have the action group, which I've created to do just that. The private WhatsApp group also exists, so we can do just that. I've written a book that helps you with ideas and strategies to be successful, because we have to be successful despite the Haitian government that doesn't want us to be successful, because we're here because we want a better Haiti. We're here because we're tired of having to be in other countries and not able to be proud of who we are and where we come from, because we have a Haitian government that doesn't understand what it needs to overcome and be successful. And the only way we can ever have a Haitian government that finally fights and does what's right is for us to impact, become job creators, become affluential people, so we can change directly. Because at the end of the day, you can be an activist, you can be a Facebook warrior, you can be a critiquer of what's wrong with the country. But the government changes one way and one way only: when you're able to financially impact change upon it. And the only way you can financially impact change upon it is when you yourself become financially successful, right? And the only way you can be financially successful is create business, right? And so that's why you understand why all this exists. Why right here, those who are watching on YouTube and IG, there's a little thing that says Haiti Biz Show, right? Why we're focused, so laser focused on business, informing you. SeeJeanty Media exists to show you, hey, there's a Haitian diaspora who came back from Canada, from New York. Look what they're doing. They can do it. Here's how they did it. You can do it too. Because we need to reach a critical mass of successful Haitian returnees so we can change this country fundamentally, right? And one day we'll have a government like that we have in Dominican Republic that does not fight against entrepreneurs, does not fight against business development, is not ready to take money out your pocket, right? That is when Haiti will be on the right path, but it depends on us, right? So I'm stopping right there on that tangent narrative, but very important. A story like that, which really triggers that, when you have Haitians investing $70 million, right? That could have gone to Haiti, and thousands of jobs that could have happened, right? And it's part of by the way, it's part of a 600,000 job initiative of the Dominican Republic. The Dominican Republic, within the next five to 10 years, they want to get 600,000 more jobs and double their industrial output, right? So that's that news story. Let's move on, and that ends our Dominican Republic segment of the show, right? All right. So exchange rate. Let's talk about the exchange rate. The exchange rate has plummeted. Remember when we were talking about how it was 60 good, right? 60 good for a US dollar, right? Now we're at 90, unofficial black market. Well, the black market is probably lower. I guess there's three tiers of currency rates right now. There's the official government rate, which is about 79 good. There's the rate that's being traded within currency, like grocery stores that exchange your money. That's at like 90 right now. Heck, I mean, every place is at 90 right now. I'll be honest. In fact, I had to buy furniture someplace. I won't tell you where. But I had to buy furniture somewhere, and they asked us, "Well, what you gonna exchange this to?" Like, yeah, 90 good for $1. I'm like, that's not the official Haiti published rate, but okay, I'll take it, right? So there's a secondary unofficial rate that everyone else is using, actually, and then of course there's the black market rate, which is even lower, right? So the as of the 2019-2020 fiscal year, which is about October of last year, the BRH has injected $150 US into the market, right? And it's unsustainable. We have economists talking about effectively the reserves are around 478 million right now, which is interesting because right, the IMF, right, has set limits on central banks that the amount of net foreign exchange reserves must not be less than the equivalence of 3 months of importation at the national level, right? And since 2018, okay, Haiti imports are about 4.8 billion, okay? Would it be $4.8 billion, right? So about 4 months equals about $400 million, right? And so it goes without saying, if we're not supposed to be lower than 400 million, and right now we're at 478, that means the central bank has reached almost their maximum in terms of their direct intervention of what they can do in the foreign exchange economy, ecosystem, market is the word I'm looking for, right? This is the lowest in the reserves that the central bank has had in 17 years, right? We talked about this on Haiti Biz News that the exchange rate, it is not with their strategy of trying to keep it down is not sustainable. And mark my word, before the end of this year, it's still early. It's still early. I want to be even more aggressive. I want to say before August, we're going to be at 120 good per $1. Okay, 100 good per dollar. Okay, 100 good per dollar. That's where we're going to be. That's where we're going to be. All right, because as we talked about here many times on Haiti Biz News, the only way your currency can genuinely appreciate in value is when your country is providing the world something it wants, right? When we're exporting things, right? Then your currency goes up because they need your currency to buy those things, right? But Haiti doesn't produce anything, right? And worse, you don't have a Haitian government that uses the right strategies to allow Haitian entities to export things, right? Though we are going to go to a new story when we get to the agriculture section, talking about a new free zone and export-based activities that are supposed to be happening. We'll see if there's execution behind it. So there are some positive things happening, but thus far, it's been too little, too late, right? And it's only been on the back of the central government to try to give our currency value. And we've been doing that by basically trying to devalue the US dollar in our local market. And that's not going to last too long, right? Because there's too much need and demand for dollars, especially if you're importing, right? We have an import-based economy. And the more you have to bring products in, right? We just told you there's $4.8 billion of importation. You need the other currency. The other currency is always going to be higher than your local currency. So when you're bringing stuff in and not exporting almost anything, right? And that's the news story. It's a news story that we've been talking about for a long time, and it's coming to bear fruit. The exchange rate is falling. It's falling because it cannot not fall, right? The only thing it can do is fall because we're not exporting anything, right? The next news story has to do with inflation. Inflation, as you know, is the price of goods and how quickly they increase, right? How quickly they increase. Okay, you ready for this? 18.7% inflation year over year reported for January. 18.7%. Okay, let me pause real quick. I'm seeing a incorrect conversation happening in my IG live right now. I don't, someone asks, hey, can someone American born, or something just Daniel Dancia Buckner asks, can someone of American born child immigrant automatically earn Haitian citizenship? So legally since 2012, the Constitution that's changing recognize you if you're of Haitian descent. It's a blood citizenship. So it doesn't matter if you're Canadian, it doesn't matter where you're born, you're Haitian if your parents were Haitian. So the problem has always been there has been a way for you to exercise that right, because the parliament has never they're supposed to do their job and provide laws and structure for people to exercise that constitutional right. They never did, right? So that's your answer. The answer is legally since 2012, by the way, 2012, anyone born of Haitian parents, doesn't matter where you're born, you're Haitian, right? There just hasn't been a legal way for you to exercise that. So Afro MMP, don't give people answers that you don't have the right answer to, right? Make sure before you give somebody an answer, Google what you're giving people answers to, right? Right. So the answer to your question, Daniel Buckner, is the answer is yes. You are automatically Haitian. You have full rights of Haitian citizenship. There just isn't a way to clearly exercise that right. Right? There isn't a way you can just show up and say, "Hey, here's the birth certificate of my mom and my dad. Give me my paperwork." It's complicated. There's a lot of back and forth. There's a lot of conversation. One person in the government will say one thing, another person will say another. You'll get your documentation, but it's not a clear, clean, transparent process. That's the answer. Okay. And Afro, stop giving people wrong answers, man. Come on, tighten up. don't let me get back in there. Don't take answers from Afro MMP. Okay. All right, let's keep going. So inflation is 18.7%, right? We have month over month in December, inflation increase of 1.2%. between the months, right? So it increased, right? The larger inflationary sources, 18.3%. Local rice, right? Imported rice, 15.7%. Always a problem when imported rice decreases at a rate slower than your imported rice. Or sorry, your local rice increases at a higher rate than your imported rice. Not a good thing. Ground corn, 15.4%. Goat meat, 29.5%. Banana, 34.9%. Inflationary increase. Dry peas, 30%. Other big mover inflation, living room furniture, 21%. Dining room, 23.8%. Articles of clothing have increased as much as 20.4%. Shirts, 19.8%. Health, another big mover in inflation, 32.7%. 32.7% inflation. Inflation is a problem, especially when it relates to food. And it's never, Haiti has consistently been, every year, every month we've reported inflationary rates. It's always has been in these extraordinarily high double-digit percentages, right? Certainly very problematic. Our next news segment has to do with local aid and business development. We have Beauty Mogul. Beauty Mogul chooses Haiti as home for producing baby nap wigs, right? You may chuckle. You're like, wait, SeeJeanty, why are you reporting about baby nap wigs being happening in Haiti? Listen, job creation needs to happen, right? Job creation needs to happen in Haiti, right? And when you have someone by the name of Mushia Tishkuka of Runway Curls, did her research, looked around, okay, and said, hey, I looked around and Haiti seems to be a pretty good place to be able to do, to be able to do what this is, and most importantly, can impact, because, her clientele for her product, it's a lot of African Americans, Haitians as well, African descent, people of African descent across the world. And it makes only sense if people of African descent are utilizing and benefiting from this product, that it should be made by those same hands. So the money coming in can also benefit those same people. Whoa. Revolutionary way of thinking. Whoa. And I'm not sure, and please correct me if I'm wrong, but I am not sure Mushia Tishkuka is Haitian, which is fascinating, right? If she is, great, right? What matters to me, I don't really care what the background of the person is investing in Haiti, is that the investment happens, right? And so she spent months looking for a manufacturing warehouse and equipped 20 wig makers, trained them, and are able to produce wigs flawlessly, right? So hats off to Mishua Mushia, Tishkuka, for choosing Haiti to do something so important that so many within the African American Black community utilize, right, for their day-to-day. Okay, and I shared the link, by the way. I shared a link on Facebook and YouTube. Feel free and take a look at that. Right. The next news story has to do with the Digicel. The Digicel Foundation. The Digicel Foundation celebrates its 14th anniversary, financing 14 projects, right, for its 4th edition of the Convict pour Changement. Convict pour Changement. Convict pour Changement. Convict pour Changement. Right? And what is a Convict pour Changement? It's a program that goes through the 10 departments of the country, and they choose projects. It's there's different rounds. They start with almost 65 participants, but they slowly whittle it down. And this year they whittled it down to 17 projects, all right? And the total pool of money, it's a grant, by the way. I don't know, it's a grant of 1 million good. 1 million good. 1 million good. Let me do the math for you guys. 1 million good is equal to, let's use the official bank rate. The official bank rate, right, is equal to around 12. Oh, I missed a zero, I think. Let me double check that. Is equal to, what is that equal to? Am I reading that right? 12, I think it's 12 million, right? 12 million, right? USD, right? Set aside, right? To assist those in Haiti, right? With their work and their project, right? Some of the items that were selected, were, we'll give you some of the list of those who won, 17 projects that won. Odette Roy Fambron Foundation had a pottery project located in Artibonite, producing pottery for Haiti and Haitians, right? We have the civil society organization of Municipality of Saint Mark, located in Artibonite. That's consists of pig distribution for breeding purposes, right? We have the Association of Savannah Grande, located in the Central Department, right? Producing peanut processing. They got investment, right? We have the City Pierre Louis Women Organization, producing cassava processing project, got funding. The project over in the rally organizing Grandance, consisting of cows and kids for breeding purposes. Cows and calves. Sorry, bad translation. Cows and calves for breeding purposes, right? The Association of Families and Development and Supervision of Countries, located in Nipez, right? Had a project funded related to the collection and distribution of water, right? Another project related to rare aquatic animals, right, being bred and sold, got distribution, right? And another that related to bananas being transformed into flour, right? And those are the sort of projects that were able to get funding, right? Right? So good stuff, good news as relates to getting entrepreneurs the capacity to be able to do projects, right? From the Digital Foundation, right? And again, we're looking at my notes here. I believe each organization was able to get that amount of good, 1 million in good, to help them with what they have going on, which itself is in turn equal to about 12,000 USD, right? So that's my math not being right. So that's about 12. Each of these businesses got about $12,000, right, to impact and do things, which is fantastic. You know, that's direct support of Haitian business, which is fantastic. You know, each business I just mentioned got 1 million good, equal to about 12,000 USD, which is impactful. So it's not chump change to help them with their business and their ventures, which is fantastic, right? So international aid, right? We have Digital Foundation has inaugurated its 183rd school, right? The Ministry of Education has formally accredited the Pierre Jose Agnar Cadet School, a community school over in La Rouche, in municipality of Central Plateau, right? Which will be offering from preschool to the 9th fundamental year, right? This is the 20th school by the Digital Foundation in the Central Plateau, and the 18th across the entire national territory, right? So which is fantastic and great news to read, right? International aid. Let's talk about the international aid, right? And I'm just going to hit these very quickly. There's a lot of money going across the country right now to do different things in different aspects, right? 1.9 million is being set aside by the USAID to help new youth engagement empowerment activity implemented by PADF, right? To help vulnerable young people and provide community centers, in effect, community centers across the country. We have 2.5 million signed by between the Minister of Agriculture and the USDA, the FAO, the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations, right? Focused on key aspects related to guarantee of food security, support for the implementation of national policy and strategy for sovereignty and food security, and food security and nutrition in Haiti, the support of Minister of Agriculture in the fight against disease, right? Support for urban and pre-urban agriculture, right? And finally, emergency assistance to help protect those in emergency situations within the Northwest Department of Haiti, right? 40 million euros have been set aside by the European Union, right? 40 million euros have been set aside by the European Union, the European Development, into the European Development Fund targeted towards Haiti, specifically to help with hunger, malnutrition, right? And really focused on providing increasing sustainable food sources and nutritional security in the country, right? 14 million euros in the EU have been set aside, earmarked for Haiti to help quote unquote most vulnerable populations as relates to COVID, right? Very specific to COVID, right? 7 million has been earmarked for Haiti, right? Out of a larger fund that's doing work for the Caribbean. 75 million donation by the World Bank towards a grant for the International Development Association, IDA, right? To help with adaptive social protection. They're looking to try to help provide assist in a social development safety net, right? For when emergencies happen in Haiti, that the way the project's supposed to work, right? It's supposed to help with shocks, for example, COVID-19. They realized COVID-19, there was a massive problem in terms of getting people to stay home, because if they didn't stay home, they weren't going to make any money. So the program is supposed to, in effect, in times of crisis, in times of natural disaster, et cetera, basically provide cash transfers directly to Haitians during times of emergency, right? Such as natural disasters or health crises, right? It's going to be managed ultimately by the Minister of Social Affairs and Labor, right? With the view of also trying to improve the governance of that entity as well, right? And so they're testing out a pilot for this program where 18,000 households, which is approximately 90,000 Haitians, I'm going to say it again, 90,000 Haitians, right, are going to be a part of this program, right, where, again, if things happen for families, and particularly in rural areas, that, young children, pregnant women, people with reduced mobility, will get immediate access to funds and resources. And they're trying this out within the Gundas area, within the Gundas region of Haiti, right? And so the goal ultimately for the Minister of Social Affairs and Labor is to register at least 200,000 additional households to be registered in the social registry of the organization. And so they could also potentially be a part of this program as it expands and proves itself out, which is a really incredible program that I'm very happy to share with you guys. It's sort of the things we don't hear about at all that's happening in Haiti. That one of the reasons why we're here to talk about that and inform you guys about it, which is really important. 11 million euros for Haitian Biodiversity Fund. The French Embassy announces that as part of the new partnership for the French Development Agency, the Haitian Biodiversity Fund will have 11 million euros within it This fund is specifically to help Haitian actors, Haitian actioneers, whose mission is to protect the environment and biodiversity, have resources available to it, right? So those who are potentially looking to do very natural reforestive activities, you look into the Haitian Biodiversity Fund, right? And try to reach out and see if your idea can potentially get funded. Finally, the Haitian government has put together a response plan, a strategic response plan to $235 million, right? In terms of what has been evaluated as what's needed to help Haiti. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and drop a link, and then those who are watching on IG, I do invite you to go over and be a part of the conversation happening right now on YouTube and Instagram, because that's where you get the links. I'm dropping this in the chat here, which is a PDF that lays out the government's sort of strategic idea of what Haiti needs and how agencies should be where they should be focused on in providing humanitarian aid. Now, of this 235 million, we're looking at 156 million for food security. That's the largest amount. Another 15 million for health and education, right? And then finally, 12 million for water, hygiene, and sanitation, right? 12 million for water, hygiene, and sanitation, right? And this emergency response is to assist around 1.5 million people, right? Out of the 4.4, and there's 4.4 people in need, right? This strategic plan only affects really 1.5 million of that 4.4. Now, this action plan, at first glance, you're like, why is the Haitian government, creating a manifesto of what they need? This is in line with, for example, Rwanda. One of the reasons that NGOs are able to be much more effective is that they have guidelines by the Rwandan government that say, hey, here's what we need, and here's what we really want you guys to be working on. And in fact, they only approve NGOs that are doing things in line of what they've said they need, right? Now, Haiti isn't that far yet. Anyone with an NGO idea can come and get it registered here and get actually any little guidance to what's actually happening. But that said, this is supposed to be a sort of playbook for NGOs and social foundations to be looking to impact, to help Haiti and Haitians, right? So I've shared that document. You guys can take a look at it. It's a rather sobering read, I can tell you, to see what the Haitian government is basically saying. Hey, we can't do this. Like, we can't help our people, right? We need help of you actors to help our people, which is a very sobering thing to read, but it is what it is, and it is a reality, right? And so that document's there, and those who are much more socially focused in their mission in Haiti, which is fine. You can read that and gauge your actions accordingly. Okay. Our next big news grouping has to do with agriculture. Next big news grouping. President Jovenel Moïse and the Agriculture Minister of Patrick Sevre has inaugurated a new solar-powered water pumping station in Typhon, which is very close to Port-au-Paix, right? We'll be replacing a old dysfunctional system that's been operating there for over 3 years, right? Which is great news, right? Resumption of sorghum production. Sorghum production has gone up considerably from its previous levels. It's up to 75,000 metric tons of sorghum, but unfortunately, it's nowhere near where it used to be. In around 2012, 2013, it was pushing closer to 120,000 tons. But there's a fly called the aphid, APHID, aphid. It's a fly that basically, puts its kids inside the plant and then forces the plant to ooze juice out, and then these little larvae consumes it, and it kills the it kills the plant, right? And of course, sorghum, for those ones, it's sort of like a wheat product, and thus, the production dropped to as low as 15,000 metric tons in 2015. But now in 2021, it's up to 75,000. It could be more, but there's a lot of apprehension amongst farmers to go back to sorghum, given that they basically lost their shirts just a few years ago from doing it. Now there's supposed to be newer seeds, a newer type of sorghum that's supposed to be more resistant to aphids. And so that's been encouraging the increase of production amongst sorghum. Sorghum is a very important aspect. Maï comes, there's a grouping of cereals and other things that sorghums are a part of in producing for the Haitian diet. And so it's important for it to come back. So that's great news to know that our production levels are moving in the right direction. And certainly we do hope to be back to the levels that we were just a few years ago before aphids devastated the production. All right. Babancour's project for cane. Babancour has come out and said that, listen, they're looking to triple the amount of sugar cane that they use. A good amount of the sugar cane they use comes from Haiti. They have massive relationships and land holdings with cane producers all across the country, and they've announced they're looking to triple the production of cane in Haiti, and they'll be working with planters. They'll be working with associations, in addition to increasing their agricultural budget in-house to improve the yields and capacity of their crops, the crops that they do own, right? Which is great news and great to hear. Shouts out to Babancour for thinking domestically and increasing national production. One of the few things we actually do a good job of exporting, which is our Babancour. So shouts off to Babancour for that. Mango producers and suppliers seek to better position themselves in the industry, right? It's almost mango season, and the largest association have announced that they're getting ready. But certainly, they said that there could be much more engagement from the Haitian government. Surprise, surprise. They're saying there's not enough engagement from the Haitian government to support such an important export activity, right? You would think the government should be right there having these conversations, saying, "Hey, what do you guys need? How do we help? What do we need to do?" And the Haitian government is largely absent. So says the Mango Association. They're asking that the Haitian government step up and assist support for farmers with credit, so they can go ahead and increase their capacity accordingly. And they're also asking to help with assistance with aspects related to transportation. As you know, Haiti has notoriously bad roads and bad infrastructure, and they're asking for the government to step in and provide some degree of subsidies as relates to helping farmers get to the centralized plants, because the Mango Association, they have these centralized distribution centers, and they're asking for the government to step in and help farmers come to them, right? Come to these different centers. Because this in these centers, the mangoes get tested, they get washed, they get cleaned, they get boxed, and then get ready to be shipped, and also get reviewed by the FDA right there in Haiti. And then they're able to get shipped and spend very little time in port, and then immediately be consumed by in America, right? So that's that news. And as it relates to agriculture, though we have a very big news story we want to talk about, which is the free zones in Artibonite, right? The free zone, we talked about that last time, and the free zone in Artibonite is an important one by the Haitian, it affected the Haitian state, right? The Haitian state came out with a decree. The final step of any free zone, I think a lot of folks are making it be different than what it is. A free zone cannot exist without a presidential decree at some point, signing off on it. And so the president was signing off on a deal that was already striked, right? A lot of folks are trying to make it seem as, oh, Jovenel is taking land and making it into a free zone. No. The owners of the land have been pushing for a long time to have it be a free zone. and they came into an agreement with a PED, one of the larger, as you can say, industrialists in Haiti, to produce one of the first projects that are going to be on this free zone. This free zone is, by the way, 8,000 hectares, an area of Savannah Diane, which is in the Haiti area, right? And they're looking basically to produce stevia, which is a sugar-free sugar that I absolutely swear by. I almost exclusively use stevia for my coffee and things. I'm not a big sugar person, by the way. Stevia, I should recommend you guys to look into stevia, Stevia, right? When it comes to your sugary needs, get off sugar. Sugar is bad for you. And so a good amount of that land, a few thousand hectares, are going to be used for that, right? And so an article came out in the Le Nouveliste after the story broke that basically explained that the owner of the land are the Dejois. I'm sure I'm saying it wrong. Dejoie, the Dejois, right? Saying they purchased these back in the 50s and 60s, 8,000 hectares. They got chased out of the country because of Duvalier. Duvalier basically ran, and they had companies and different things happening, but the Duvalier regime basically ran those companies and those entities to the ground. In 1986 and 87, there was when Duvalier left and the new government was coming about, there was a period where folks who had major land holdings were invited to request for their land back. And they applied for their land, they proved the deeds and et cetera. And they were able to get acquisition to the land again. And since then, they've been trying to do different projects on that land to provide jobs, to provide output production, and assist with national development within the country. Again, this is from on their side, right? And it was only just relatively recently that they struck a deal to basically invest. That's right, Gary Tech, the Joy family, to invest $200 million over 10 years, and we expect somewhere around 20,000 jobs to be created. This is the sort of news we should be talking about, guys. Hello, I'm gonna say it again: a $200 million investment deal to potentially create 20,000 jobs, and it's done by Haitians, right? It's done by Haitians, right? But so many of us are so busy making this political, chiming in on our 2 cents of, because we don't like, Jovenel got involved in it. The op-eds are involved in it. Who cares who's involved in it? This is a good thing. This is what we need, my friends, right? $200 million Haitian investment. By the way, Haitian investment, right? Before, when I was talking about international aid and I was saying the French, people were like, they're control. The European Union, they're control. The EU, they're about to control. But I'm saying Haitian banks and Haitian private investment are putting together to do a $200 million investment. And yet people are still talking. You can't win, right? Can't win, right? Anyways, it's massive news. And by the way, here's the deal. I'm going to send the link. I invite you guys to read. It's a great read from Le Nouveliste. It's a write-up from their attorney. So it's coming straight from them, And so I've dropped a link there for you guys on Facebook and YouTube and Periscope. I welcome you guys to go ahead and check out that article. It's really encouraging. The facts behind it and the story behind it. Really, really encouraging, right? Now, but on the other side of this story, right, it is, listen, we're fair and balanced here. We are fair and balanced here, okay? So on the other side of this news, an organization called SOFA, right? SOFA, right? They're an organization of apparently women farmers, right? They're completely against this. And they're saying that of the 80,000 hectares, 13 hectares that are part of this deal, right, were granted to them in 2017 by the state of Haiti. Okay, they said that they got it, they got approval for the land that they're developing from the Minister of Agriculture. And it was in large part because of President Moise was trying to push for Negbanan, if you remember, trying to push domestic agricultural development. And they made this appeal, and the farms that these farmers were a part of, in effect became a zone of development, officially, unofficially. Okay. And now the part of their land that they're a part of is now part of this larger export project, unbeknownst to them. They've made other accusations that are saying, not related, that in addition to reneging to this deal, right? They've said that since 2017, 2018, many of their farmers have been menaced by bandits. And they're making a claim going even further. They're saying that they feel that the people who've been a part of this deal, who've been wanting to get this deal, they've been the ones sending menace to some of their farmers, right? They're saying they've gone as far to name names. They said the APED themselves have sent agents to harass and intimidate their farmers from not farming to leave. And so it'll be an easier ride to get that land. Right. And so what they're asking for what was promised to them. They said, hey, this deal is fraudulent. They lied to us. We want our 13 hectare acres so we can produce domestic goods for the domestic economy and support women farmers. Right. And I'm going to give you the full write-up. We're fair and balanced here. Right. I want to give you the other side of the argument. Right. I mean, it's not even for the full 8,000 hectare acres. This is just 13 hectare acres. Right. Of land that's being fought for by SOFA. And I want to drop that article also in the YouTube, Facebook, Periscope. You guys can see and take a look at that counter argument. Right. My opinion is, doing anything related to land is tricky. Listen, I got some land here in Haiti recently, and two people come out of the woodwork and say, hey, this is our land. We had this agreement. And even though it wasn't the case. In my situation, and in every situation I know of folks who bought land in Haiti, there's always been someone who comes out of somewhere and says, hey, this land was my land because of X reason, right? And we want to cut, we don't want it to happen, right? And so when I read this, I'm like, yeah, this is just the messiness of Haitian real estate and property deals and land. If this didn't happen, or an organization came out to say this, it would be weird. Like that doesn't. How many people? Like the first thing whenever you hear a land deal in Haiti is, so tell me, man, how many people came out the woodwork to say this their land? Oh, and there was like, oh man, I had about 4 or 5 of them, man. That's how it works in Haiti when it comes to land. So just FYI. And so the validness of SOFA's claims, I don't know. I don't know. They made a great argument, and they might be legitimate. But at the end of the day, who has more proof and a longer legal argument for the land, and it seems to be the Dejoie family, the DEJOIA family, because they have claims going back from 1950s, 1960s. These guys only have it going back to 2017. And so I am going to have to side with the folks who have claims on the land going back decades upon decades. Okay. That's just my opinion on it. Feel free, make your own perspective, make your own take, right? You're more than welcome to. And the final bit of agricultural news, I probably should move this up a little earlier, has to do with the solar. Okay, no, actually, I'm sorry. My notes just doubled up. Oh no, this is a different hydraulic pump. Okay, so we have an hydraulic another solar pump that's been installed in the commune of Okai, specifically an area called Vinette, and it was inaugurated on the week of the 6th, and it was attended by the director of DENIPA, right? So that's the final news story as relates to agriculture. Okay, Electricity. Let's talk about electricity. Towards the installation of 70,000 prepaid meters for EDH, because a push for electricity cannot happen if folks don't have means to pay. And the very first part of paying is knowing how much you've consumed. And 70,000 units of smart meters have been installed across several neighborhoods in the metropolitan area, because after the push to give the capacity for everyone to have electricity, there needs to be things put in place for people to actually pay for their electricity, right? Because nothing is free. And you may be thinking, well, what I mean, where can they afford it? But Haitians afford water. Haitians buy their water both to bathe and to drink, for the most part, though there are some public wells, that are available for the most in need. But the vast majority of Haitians who do purchase their own water, vast majority of Haitians can buy their own electricity. If only there was electricity available more reliably, right? And the means to pay was easier, which it isn't, right? So 70,000 units are being installed all across the metropolitan areas. The Marion Dam is 98% complete, very close to completion. And once complete, it's going to help tremendously the Northeast as relates to agricultural projects. That's the primary reason for the dam being built, to help with agriculture, right? And those are the primary big moves as relates to electricity. Oh, wait a minute. Sorry. There are going to be, I'm like, wait a minute, I just talked about agriculture. I didn't mention anything about the electricity capacity of the dam. So the dam will also provide electricity locally to the homes in that area. There are going to be some turbines installed, and there are going to be some electricity production being provided to the residents of that area. Though again, the primary purpose of the dam is for agriculture, but there are going to be an electricity output as well from the Marion Dam. Okay, so sports. We're rounding home. We're almost to the finish line. Sports. 2 hours and 50 minutes in. I respect you guys. I see some folks who are there from the beginning, still here. I'm not the MVP for doing a 3-hour show. You're the MVP for sticking around for 3 hours. Right? Anyways, we're almost done. Sports. Jean-Jacques Pierre has been announced the national coach of the Grenade. Oh, can't. Pas jouem. My biggest, équipe, pas jouem. Tranquille, posé. Mettez-nous à l'aise. Relax. Grenadiers. The Grenadiers, okay? The Grenadiers. Grenaders, okay? Is the butchered English way of saying it. The Grenaders. National coach of our national soccer team has been announced. And it's Jean-Jacques Pierre, who's going to be our head coach. Now, let's read the history of Mr. Jean-Jacques Pierre. Okay, he was born in 1981 in Léogane. So he's a Haitian national from Léogane. His first big exposure was being the U23 captain of the national team. So he does have some national team experience as a U23 captain, right? Also, from 24 and 2005, he played for an Argentinian team called the CA Penol in Argentina. He was elected best defender of the Uruguayan Championship, right? In 2005, he was recruited by FC Nantes in France, and he stayed there and played for 6 seasons for FC Nantes, right? In 2012, he was released under his contract and then signed 1 year for Greek team. I can't say this name, but Panionos 3. All right, it's a Greek football team, right? In 2013, he signed a 1-year deal with Club Stade Madherb Khan. Okay. In 2015, He was contracted and joined SCO de Agners for 5 months. I'm not too sure if this is all in if that's in Greece or not, right? He in 2015 he did commit to Paris Football Club, which I believe is a second tier team actually. And then 2017, Jean-Jacques Pierre then committed to the played for the U.S. Granville for a time, right? So, out that history that I just gave you, I didn't read anything where he was a head coach. I don't know. I'm not. I know. These guys are a lot more passionate about soccer here on my stream right now. Who could, tell me, all the research we did preparing for this show. I didn't see anywhere where Jean-Jacques Pierre has coaching experience. Right? Please type in quickly, guys. Those who are following soccer and who know about Jean-Jacques Pierre here, please inform my ignorance before I go into where I am going to go to, right? Which is we're replacing, right, Marc Colette, right? Right. We're replacing the previous coach that we had, right? Fresh Mark, right? Right. And I think it's Marc Colette, I think it was who we're replacing, who had an incredible track record. I mean, you saw how far we got last year. We beat Mexico. No, we lost to Mexico. We beat Canada, right? Almost beat Mexico, right? We did incredibly well, through the Gold Cup, and we were winning. The streets were lit up. I mean, there were rah-rahs happening in New York because we were winning. I mean, it was some of the most beautiful stuff I've seen as relates to Haiti. Our football team winning and just the festivities that we took, and people were like, "Whoa, who is this? Haiti just won us." Okay. It makes me think how crazy things would be one day when Haiti has a football team that can rival Brazil. Listen, we can dream. Don't shoot the messenger. We can dream, man. Relax. Right? But it was incredible, right, to see what the previous coach was able to do, right? But suddenly we did not renew. First off, my understanding is the previous coach suffered quite a bit in terms of not getting his money, right? Not getting what he was owed, right, in the first place, which is a tremendous injustice, right? For what he's done and what he's produced for Haiti. So number one, let's say that right off the bat, right? But then we bring in a guy who I don't know if he has any experience, right, in coaching, right? So I don't quite understand how that works. How we have a great coach who has an incredible winning record, who's taken us very far, to one that I don't believe has ever coached. I'll leave that alone, guys. I'll leave that alone. But I certainly wish this new coach well. Who knows? He may be the best coach we've ever had. And so let time tell. But I just find it a little bizarre. We're bringing someone in who I haven't been able to see where they've coached, right? Okay. And finally, the last news story has to do with 2021. Haiti has a Haitian skiing team. I'm going to say it again. Haiti has a national ski team. What? Yes, we do. Yes, we do. In fact, they've just gotten sponsorship by Nova Minds, which is a cybersecurity consulting firm. Gotten sponsorship, and the Haitian national national ski team is going to be participating in the 2021 Alpine Skiing Worlds event that's happening over in Cortina de Ambezzo, Italy. Okay, Contina de Ampezzo, Italy, from February 8. So it's already happened actually, but February 8 to February 21, right? And so the leads for the ski federation has been Jerry Pierre Roy and Thierry Montalet, right? And these are the first Haitian skiers to participate in world championships, which is fantastic, right? Which is fantastic, right? So we'll see ultimately. Oh, again, LF gave me an update here. Whew, ouch. Ooh. All right. Okay, no, this is something else. They're telling me this is something else. What was it? LF, what are you talking about here? Are you talking about a soccer match? I think you guys talking about a soccer match, and not the. I thought someone was giving me an update on how they did in the skiing championship. But in any case, great news to have Haitians participate in different places, right? So great stuff. Great stuff from that perspective, right? So we'll very quickly go over the news we talked about. We went over a lot of news, and so let's go over some of the news that we talked about, right? Today we talked about COVID. We talked about COVID and the locations of PCR testing in the West, in the Central Plateau, and Artibonite. We talked about Carnival and the fact it was successful and the different artists that were involved. We talked about the Constitution, and we talked about what's expected to be in the Constitution. I even shared with you links of where you guys can acquire the copies of the Constitution. I'm going to go ahead and share it one more time for those who came in late. Let me go ahead and share that to you guys again, so you can go ahead and have that for your records. Both the French and the English version are in what I've just shared there. Feel free, download it. And for your next clubhouse, you cannot be that person that says, "Well, I haven't read it, but here's my opinion." I've just gave you the English version, so please make sure now you can opine by actually having read it. Okay, and we talked about some of the things that are going to be in that Constitution as well, as relates to vice presidents, as relates to no more Isaac Kazakhs, as relates to no more prime minister, as relates to participation from the diaspora, as relates to discharge not happening, not at the parliament level, but instead at the legislative level, as we talked about many other aspects of the Constitution, which was fantastic to break down. But again, look out in 2 weeks. We'll have a much more longer, more official conversation. Look out for that in 2 weeks. Okay, I'll make time somehow. I'll figure out a way to make some time. We've got to talk about that. Elections, talk about that, and there's a risk of a lot of Haitians potentially not getting their SIM cards in time. But the Haitian government is working hard to try to get that to happen, or at least bring that gap lower. They've pushed back the referendum date to get more Haitians their SIM cards. They're working with Spain to have Spain increase production of the SIM cards. SIM cards are the cards ID, electoral cards, I guess you could say. Dominican Republic has come out and they said that they are going to be building hospitals within Haiti to avoid the saturation of Haitians coming into their country for medical services. They also said they're building a wall, 190-kilometer wall, to keep Haitians out of their country. There's been massive investments by Haitian capitalists, and they've put in around $70 million in investments. $70 million of investments that are going to be employing thousands of Dominicans in the Dominican Republic, in San Domingo, right, in the heart of the city, right? The exchange rate has tanked. The exchange rate has tanked, and it's continuing to tank. And now the central bank has basically reached their limit in terms of how much they can eject into the economy, and we can expect things to really start spiraling lower now, since they've decided to begin to interject into the market. And we'll see what other things they may have to start doing to be creative to limit the drop in the exchange rate for the good. But we'll see as time will tell. Inflation is up 18.7% within Haiti. Local aid and business development, beauty mogul has chosen Haiti to produce her baby nap wigs. She has a manufacturing center and over 20 plus employees producing wigs that are sold across America and the world. Digicel Foundation announced that they've selected 17 projects and each benefited of a grant equal to around $12,000, right? And we talked about which organizations and what the projects were. We talked about how the Digicel Foundation also inaugurated another school within the Central Plateau. This is the 20th school built by the Digicel Foundation within the Central Department, right? International aid, we talked about a lot of international aid actors providing millions of dollars doing different initiatives. Some of the international aid partners were the USAID, the FAO of the United Nations, the European Union providing funds, the EU, we talked about the World Bank providing 75 million, EU providing 14 million. So millions of dollars are still earmarked for Haiti to assist with different aspects as relates to humanitarian aid and social protection, things of that sort. 11 million biodiversity fund has been invested on by the Haitian, the French embassy, right? The Haitian government has come out with a strategic guide for 235 million to assist with different aspects of 1.5 million people who are in risk of different elements related to food, health, medicine, education, water, hygiene, and sanitation. Agriculture, Moise has inaugurated multiple solar energy water pumps across the country, in addition to Port-au-Paix, but also in the south and near Okai. They've resumption of sorghum production. We're up to 75,000 tons after an aped bug crisis that really devastated what we're producing at 120 at one point a few years ago. Bamako announced that they've will be tripling cane production and will be growing, increasing their agricultural yields. Mango producers have announced that they're getting ready for mango season and have asked the government to provide aid in that regard. The free zone in Artibonite, we gave the side of the developer, the landowners of 8,000 hectares. I'm re-putting their side, their article, so you guys can read and check it out. We had some folks, a compact of Haitian women farmers who were very much against this and the reneging of the Haitian government of 13 hectares that the Haitian government had earmarked for their assistance. The electricity, as well as electricity, 70,000 prepaid meters have been installed across the metropolitan areas in Haiti in preparation for more electricity being provided. The construction of the Marion Dam is 98% complete and will provide electricity to homes in the area in addition to agricultural control of dams, in addition to protection against flooding. Sports, Jean-Jacques Pierre was named national coach of the Grenadiers. And finally, our 2021 Alpine ski team has been received sponsorship and participated in the 2021 Alpine Skiing World. First time the Haitian entity has been a part of such things, right? So good stuff. Happy you guys were able to be a part of Haiti Biz News in its full and its entirety. Look at that, 2.5 hours in. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna pause for about 2 minutes, okay? And I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna answer questions on YouTube and on Facebook. I'm gonna answer questions on YouTube and on Facebook. So IG, I'm about to close the IG stream. I want you guys to come over to YouTube and Facebook if you have questions. And I'm gonna spend about 15 to 20 minutes answering questions. For a lot of you folks who reached out to me and say, hey man, I want to DM and talk to me. Here's your chance. Your chance is coming, right? So I want you to hop over and for 15, 20 minutes, I'm gonna try to answer as many questions as I can, rapid fire, in terms of anything you want to ask, anything you want to talk about, right? All right, let me close this IG stream. All right. Boom, IG stream's closed. Okay. Uh-huh. All right, post. All right, and I'm gonna be right back, guys. 1 minute, 2 minutes. Stretch these legs after sitting for 2.5 hours, and then we'll be right back at it to have a one-on-one public conversation. All right, be back. All right, we're back. We're back. And guys, you're on the clock. I always want to take, even though we don't do this every week like we used to, I want to put some time on the clock and just have a conversation direct with you guys who are wanting to do things, who've seen SeeJeanty, who want to learn more, who want to gain insight in terms of strategies. I want to dedicate a few minutes towards the end of this stream here to do just that. So let's talk about it. You're on the clock. It's 11:40 right now. 20 minutes. Sorry, not 11:50. 1:50. So 20 minutes from now is 2:10, and so 2:10 will be off air. So let's go. All right, here we go. We got Luis Gonzalez in the house. First question. What do you think of the long-term ramifications of the Free Haiti movement? Oh, mon cher, vous en faites ça. Vous en bon mon topic comme ça. I told you I got a small limited amount of time, and you gave me a media aspect to engage like that. First and foremost, really quick, Luis Gonzalez has a great page when it comes to helping your financial situation. Do go check him out. He's the neighborhood finance guy. One word, neighborhood finance guy. He has a website now too, neighborhoodfinanceguy.com, and is doing some really great stuff. I had a question earlier asking about how does someone with debt and student loans help Haiti? Well, here's how you can start off, get rid of all that, and follow a guy like Luis Gonzalez, who's always providing information on how to maximize your capacity. So to answer Lawrence's question, what is the ramifications of Free Haiti? Zero. There's no. I mean, it's a very we could go deeper, but there isn't. There's just you're not going to change Haiti with a hashtag, man. It's not happening. You change Haiti by. I mean, listen. Ask how many of these Free Haiti tag people. How many times they bought Haitian products. When's the last time they've been to Haiti and spent their money, touristically speaking, right? Haiti changes only when, there's two tiers of change that happens. The first tier is wherever we are. And I think Johnson Napoleon used to talk about this, and maybe he still talks about this. And I respect him for saying this, is that, we don't have to change. We don't have to come to Haiti to change Haiti, right? you can focus on your Haiti, your local Haiti, your little Haiti near you, right? In South Florida, there's a little Haiti. There's in New York, there's little Haiti. In Montreal, there's a little Haiti, right? In Chile, there's a little Haiti. And if we can do like every other group of people, and we own that land, right? We own that community, and we support each other in that community. We then grow that social capital to then maybe in a generation turn around and properly invest in Haiti, right? One of the questions I asked earlier is that, if I'm in debt and I have all these responsibilities, how can I help Haiti? That's right. You can't, right? You can't. First, fix yourself, and then let's work on fix our community where we are, right? And then we can go back and help Haiti, right? A hashtag isn't gonna do that. And of course, folks are saying, "Oh, well, but this is about raising awareness." Listen, Haiti doesn't lack in awareness of its problems. I talk to anybody, I go anywhere, and I tell people I'm Haitian. The first, they didn't even know where Haiti is. Oh, ooh. That's the expression I get 9 times out of 10. Haiti doesn't need anyone else, a hashtag, for people to be aware of Haiti's situation. I'm sorry, right? What Haiti needs are people working on themselves, working on the Haitian community, and working on becoming a much more cohesive, powerful group of people. So then we can turn around and use what we've learned in being cohesive where we are, maybe in America or Canada, wherever, then turning around and impacting and using those strategies in Haiti. So that's my answer. Thanks for that question, Lawrence. I appreciate it. Okay. Let's see here. Let me scroll up. Let me try to scroll up. Come on. Okay, here we go. Next question has to do with Cornell Williams says, hey, Chris, can you briefly recap what you just mentioned about the water systems in the South? Unfortunately, no, I cannot briefly recap. After this stream's over, you can rewind. You can rewind that news story. I'm sorry. I want to keep this moving in the right direction. Again, you'll be able to rewind. In fact, even right now, even during this live, you can rewind it. You can go back and drag it back, and you'll be able to find where I talked about that. Okay. Jordan Parfait asked me, how can Haiti raise the value of the good we need to build within? Yeah, that's, you answered your own question. You got to build within. We got to build, primarily, we as Haitians who are investing in the country, we have to think export. And you're like, Chris, how do you think? I have a couple bucks to my name. How do I think export? Ask Escania Chocolate. Escania Chocolate is someone who just had a few bucks, an idea, and she's exporting Haitian chocolate, Haitian coca, Haitian chocolate to the world. Ask Creole Essence. They got $100,000 investment from Mr. Wonderful, and they're taking out of the huile masquite that we grew up oiling up our bodies and taking when we were sick and stuff. They've given it to, they've taken out of, they get it out of Haiti and produced an incredible product that's at the end of the day helping Haitians and Haitian farmers who are growing it and they're purchasing it from them, right? Look at, I highlighted Café Lux. They're working with the coffee farmers in Tiot. I know Caribe Brew is another entity that's doing things out of Tiot, right? And taking it out of and doing incredible marketing and selling it. They got, I hear they're going to be in some of the major stores very soon. I can't quite say where. I'm not sure I'm privy to say, but they're going to be some of the bigger box stores very soon. And that's a Haitian product. And so the biggest thing I can tell you guys is please don't come to Haiti to do another bar resto. Don't come over here and do a car wash. Don't come over here and do another hotel. Like, yo, it's played out, son, and it's not helping the economy, right? Besides, hotels and stuff, it's a little risky given that there's always something perceptionally, going on to reduce the desire of someone who may not know Haiti to want to come to Haiti, right? So that alone is a risk, right? But, creating a company that's focused on getting product out of the country, it is the winning play. Not only are you not, one of the biggest criticisms, you come in and the elites, they're going to stop you. There's no, the world is wide open. If you're getting products out of Haiti to the world, you're going to win. It's the winning play, right? And you just got to do it the right way. So thanks for that question, Jordan Perfect. That's the best way for the diaspora to do it. right? Thanks, Fronts. Yay! I appreciate the comment there on your side. Um, uh, Going to collar with bunge. I'm not sure what that question means. We did do an episode on bunge, right? I'm not sure if that's what you meant. We did do an episode on bunge. Do take a look at that, Lawrence. Do SeeJeanty bunge, and you see that episode. Let's see other questions. What other questions we have here? Yeah, I got like another 13 minutes or so. Let's see what else we got here. Let's see what other we got here. Mm-mm-mm. Mm-mm-mm. Okay, here's a question. The mining communities in Haiti, should we stop the dangerous mining practices? Or how do we figure how to get minerals in those communities? And so that's a great question. I know it's a very controversial touch point for a lot of people. And, between there's real environmental concerns. There's real issues related to the treatment of miners who historically have never been very good anywhere in the world. The fear of the natural wealth trap, which is you have these very poorly run countries, very corrupt countries, which Haiti certainly fits the bill, and then they fall into oil, or they fall into some large mineral wealth, and they start exploiting it, and they become more corrupt and worse off, because now these corrupt people in power, they have no need to give their people any regard, because they're making so much money selling the natural resources of the country. So there's a big fear there, and a big apprehension, even for me, I'll be honest, there, because this country in its current state, I'd be very fearful of them running into finally a very large oil reserve that a lot of people claim we have. But I think, listen, the reality is I'm pro-development, especially if it can be done right, and the exploitation of our natural resources is something that eventually we are going to have to do if we're going to really step into a first world level. It's just about when can we do it the right way, right? When can we do it in a way where we're going to do it to protect miners? When we're going to do it in a way where we aren't being screwed over by the international corporate ecosystem, where they love countries like Haiti, where they can strike deals with one or two corrupt people and then keep most of their profits in their pocket and not be taxed. And that tax, would go to help people in the country through education and infrastructure of schools. And so I'll be honest, today in 2021, I don't want us mining. I don't want us accessing our resources, because this country is so backwards in its governance. And that's where I am right now. But the long answer is we need to get there, and we need to be exploiting our resources. I'm sorry, environmentalists, we have to. In the world we live in, and we're not sorry. We live in a world where we need copper, we need gold, and we need bauxite, we need aluminum. That has to be harvested somewhere. We have to sell that, and why not make money off that if we can do it the right way? Let's try to protect the environment as much as possible. Let's try to protect the miners as much as possible. And let's make sure we get our cut. When I say we, let's make sure Haiti taxes these people appropriately, so then we have the money to invest in our country. Can we do that today? Hell no. Hell no, we can't do it. We have a total, terrible, useless government that would not do any of that. So for today, right now, let's not do mining. Right, but we need to do so, apparently. Right, so we're going to go ahead and get rid of Mr. Chris Kumper. We don't need people like that in our chat. Haiti has its difficulties as it relates to insecurity, but the way to tackle it is to focus more on how to protect yourself, right? Because all the stories I've heard of folks, unfortunately, being kidnapped, a lot of them, unfortunately, the most vulnerable people. It hasn't happened to diaspora at the rates that has happened to those who are most vulnerable. It's happened strategically in a way where It's obviously being done to harvest, to create a ecosystem of fear for a political mean. It's not necessarily as being something being done. Oh, there's a guy with money. Let's go target them. It's not being done in that way. It's being done that, hey, we don't like Jovenel Moise. We're being instructed by someone, a shadowy figure to the side to go cause dizzle, to make it look as if things are more unstable than it is, so the international community can step in and take this guy out, because we've done this before. We've done this under Aristide. It worked under Aristide. Let's do it again, because if it worked once, let's do it again. And then you have idiots like this Chris Compton, which I just had a block, who chimes in and backs up this narrative and says, yeah, you can't come to Haiti because the kidnapping and the dude, I'm not coming to America because if I go to an Asian spa, I'm gonna be massacred because you guys have mass shooters every other day, right? Oh, I just go to Chicago where there's 50, each weekend there's 50 odd people being shot, and I'm just gonna extrapolate, and now I'm gonna say I'm not going to America because there's Asian shooters and people being shot in Chicago, bro. There's specific things happening to specific people for specific reasons, right? It's not happening to every single of a country of 12 million people. Look at the stats. Look at the stats. The stats for Haiti is, Haiti is, when it comes to homicide rates, violent crimes, it's one of the lowest rate of incidents of violent crime and homicides in the entire Caribbean. And you're like, oh, you can't trust where are they in these numbers? The United Nations. Are you now not trusting the United Nations now, sir? Right? Anyways, that's my little rant, since I saw that in my comment. We don't have time for idiotry, right? We don't have time for that. All right, let's keep it moving, right? Let's see, Jordan or Fett. Let's see another question. I answered one of your questions already, Jordan, which I appreciate it. Let's get someone else in here. Let's see. Are you going to Corral on your Jeremy trip? I don't know what Corral is. But I'll put it on the list. I'll do some research, and if it's interesting enough, we will go and do that. Okay. Gary Tech asked me any more information about the dam, how much power. I've talked about it in the past. It's very much, it's well publicized, Gary. I'd advise you to go ahead and Google it. It's been very well published in terms of, in fact, there's a page. In fact, I know somebody in the chat can probably share it with you, Gary. There's a page specifically dedicated to the Marion Dam, where you get daily updates of how things are going and information around its specifications and specifics. I don't have it in my notes right now, but again, the Marion Dam is one of the most publicized dams public works I've ever seen in Haiti. So it's all around. So do check that out. All right, do check that out. Oswald Benem says, hey Chris, when you do your Q&A, no, I won't look at as past ones, as even a hold is too old. Let's see. Okay, here's one. Use Tripoli asked me, what's your thoughts on how to attract the right investors in Haiti? It's tough. It's tough because, the amount of media, I'm saying this because I'm someone right now, I've raised for a venture. I'm hopefully we'll be launching this end of this year. I've raised $325,000 for this venture. And I can tell you, I've been in a lot of conversations, a lot of meetings with professional and more sort of ad hoc investors. And it's conversations are fatiguing because you spend so much time talking about the insecurity and your plans to act against it, how you're hedging that aspect of Haiti. Even though I've been in Haiti for as long as I have been, never had any issues that relates to my business. Now, some of my employees have been unable to get to work because of, taps aren't running and tires are burning and they have to walk through all that, but the biggest issue is, finding the right investor that really has some experience with Haiti, that understands Haiti isn't the perception that the media says it to be. There's an incredible amount of opportunity that exists here. There's challenges, but the challenges can be overcome. And so just being persuasive, being persistent, and really look for folks who have some sort of previous exposure to Haiti. That's really, no, you're not wasting too much of your time. It's someone who's had previous exposure to Haiti. And I'll be honest, it's really, you're not going to find a lot of Haitians to collaborate with you when it comes to investing in Haiti. Because again, so many Haitians have been extremely brainwashed and throwing away their country and not seeing the opportunities that exist here, and particularly those with money. Those who could invest will not invest here. And so I don't want to say that don't spend too much time courting Haitians. Just know that your time might be better spent, seeking out non-Haitians who have some experience with Haiti. And that's sad. That's very sad to say Haitians with money are almost a waste of time, but it's the constant drilling they've had for their whole lives that Haiti isn't a place for them by other Haitians, including their parents, their friends, and etc. So it's that's just telling it to you from a guy who's raised hundreds of thousands of dollars so far. My experience. Okay. What else? Chris, you talked about something being built in Cap Haitien last time. Give me more specifics. I talk about a lot of stuff, man. Blockchain. Do you think blockchain is going to fix Haiti? No, I am not bullish on blockchain, on these digital currencies for Haiti. You want the surefirest way for me to ignore you, ignore your message, is to bring up an idea related to blockchain and digital currency for Haiti. It signals to me very little of the difficulties of Haiti. Because the conversation needs to start of, hey, how are you going to convince? Because the old conversation, I'm going to help revolutionize the Madame Seas, the informal market. How are you going to get informals who a lot of them are using dumb phones, not smartphones, dumb phones, to be able to access your platform? Where exactly are they going to be able to register? A lot of places you got to get these cards and register and use your smartphone to scan. How are they going to get their money out? It's one thing to put their money in. How do you got to put their money in if they're in Haiti? How are they going to put their money out, right? And finally, how are you going to convince the central bank to facilitate these sort of transfers? Because the thought is, that's the whole point, man. You digital currencies go get around the big banks. But last I checked, when I pull up my Coinbase app, I'm able to go connect to my Chase account, pull money out my Chase account, and put it in this digital wallet. And there always has to be some sort of interface between a traditional entity and bringing the money in somehow. And you're not going to ask to make the most impact, Madame Seas, to be able to figure that out. So I'm not saying it's not possible, but don't come to me expecting answers. You should already have the answers because you're the expert who thinks blockchain has a potentiality in this country. I don't. I'm here. I see the challenge. We don't have PayPal here. What are you talking about? I'm sorry. I am so anti-optimistic on blockchain today. And I get so many of these people who blow up my DM who want to talk about blockchain. Like, I am telling you, like, it's not going to happen anytime soon in this country for blockchain. Like Moncash, their penetration rate, they have around, this is over years of trying, around 2 million people or so, 2 to 3 million people or so using Moncash, right? That's their penetration rate. This is Digicel. They're the largest, platform that could do something like this. and their penetration rate is only 2 to 3 million. I'm being like very generous by saying I believe they had 2 to 3 million out of 12 million Haitians. And you're talking about blockchain? Come on, bro. Stop it. Stop it. I'm making a formal announcement now. Stop bringing blockchain up to me. Haiti is so far away from that. Focus on the fundamentals, man. Focus on the fundamentals. The fundamentals of what Haiti needs is investment, agriculture, and creating export. We have so many products that exist here. Focus on yourselves, where you are in your country. Focus on working together. Focus on little Haiti's about to be consumed by developers. Focus on land development in the areas you are. Focus on real things that can tangibly help us, not this digital crap that Haiti is so far away from helping. I'm sorry. That's my perspective. You guys are asking. I'm answering. That's just my perspective. You don't have to take it. You don't have to agree with me. And in fact, I hope you prove me wrong. Please, please prove me wrong. I would love it. I would be the first one to say, such and such, prove me wrong. I'll do an episode on SeeJeanty. I'm going to come to your facility in Haiti. I'm going to show this is such and such. He's built a blockchain company. He's helping 6 million Haitians transfer money, save money, do stuff. Look at him. He's doing great stuff. He's proven me wrong. I'm eating my words. I'd be so happy. So please, I'm challenging you. One of you blockchain guys who keep blowing up my DMs, prove me wrong. Take it as a challenge to prove me wrong. Okay. All right. Let's see what else. Have you been to Tiburon? It's supposed to be successful hydropower plant. I haven't. I've heard about it. I haven't been there yet. Let's see. I'm gonna give it 5 extra minutes. I'm enjoying this. I'm enjoying these questions. SeeJeanty, if we create a group around 2,000 people that can contribute with you to buy lands, you do some agriculture and start to export, I'm at 100%. So certainly at some point, and I've alluded to this, there is going to be an investment group that I am going to really push to my audience to be a part of. Though I am not ready to do that yet. The reason why is I'm doing it. I do have an investment group. It's a small group of folks. This investment group is working exclusively to get the export-based distribution entity I'm putting online, right? But I'm trying to do it with a smaller group of folks who I know are very serious. It's not necessarily open, minus the few folks I have invited to be a part of it, specifically because, I rather cut my teeth with folks who are more capable of the growing pains of something like this versus opening to the public where, oh, God forbid, I take somebody's only $10,000 and then there's another massive earthquake. I'm talking about something beyond my control. And now for the next 2-3 years, we're not making nearly as much money as we can. And now you're stressed. And now I'm getting pression from this guy who's giving me his only $10,000 to do things. You see what I'm saying? So I'm being a little more strategic in how I'm going about what we're doing. But don't get me wrong. We need to get to a place where the diaspora has a vehicle to provide capital to and do things just like James Bastian said. We need something like this. I'm aware of it. It will be coming, but it's not coming now. Okay. But thanks, James, for that. Haiti Babe says, I own an investment company in Chicago looking to purchase property in Haiti for a storefront. What do you recommend purchasing? Do you have any referrals? If you've never been to Haiti, if you don't have any real experience with Haiti, I would not advise you to buy land or buy any property. Haiti is a wild, wild west. I have a video on my channel that gives you a pretty decent breakdown of how to buy land or property here in the country. I do recommend you to check that video out, as it will answer a lot of your questions. But I would advise you not to, unless you have a significant amount of, if you're in the country a lot, you've built a network, you understand the culture here. That's the only way to buy land here. Sorry, Haiti is not a place where, for example, you're sitting in Miami, you can buy land in New York through Zillow. Haiti doesn't work that way. You have to have physical presence here and a network of people who can be a part of, um, um, helping assist with your transaction. And you should not allow some random person like me on the internet be that waypoint. It has to be you. It has to be you, right? Land happens no other way here. I mean, I'm physically here, and 2 people try to come on my land saying it was theirs. I'm here, and because I was here, I was able to drive that same day it happened, and then squash it, right? And so, land is not something to mess around with. Regrettably, I would advise the diaspora to leave ambitions related to land alone. You can rent things relatively easy. Renting is easy to do. Rent land, but to start with buying land as your first aspect of your business, don't do it. Don't do it. Haiti to the world. Philly Dom's in the house. Philly Dom, what is up? Philly Dom taking over the world. Finally, I think the COVID has allowed Philly Dom to, take his show back on the road. The last I checked, Philly was in California, I think. I wonder where in the world you are now. Philly Dom is somebody you want to check out his YouTube channel. And wherever he goes, he tries to find Haitians and interviews them and sees their way of life. And so it's a great diaspora show in a way, right? So check out Philly Dom. Hats off, lots of respect for Philly. Let's get one more question. I'm make it a good one. I'm gonna get one more question. I gotta get off the air here. One more question. Let's see. I want to get a nice, good question. I'm gonna skim through the questions here, and then let's see if I can get a nice, good one here. Oh, I don't see any questions. I don't see any questions. Well, I guess if I don't see any questions, I'll grab the first one I see. Out of blockchain questions. You guys kill me, man. Guys kill me. Blockchain could work, but it won't work in this country because the institutions that are in charge of regulating land, for example, transactions, won't do it. Now you can say, well, the blockchain is supposed to exist outside of these entities, but who is going to enact it? Who is going to be a part of it? We don't have real estate agents. We don't have a real estate body here. Who is going to do it? We could. Well, you could. You go do it. Go do it. Prove me wrong, right? But I don't see. There's it's not going to happen anytime soon in this country. I'm sorry, guys. Anyways, let's see. Just skimming through here. I don't see any other questions. All right. If I don't see any other questions, I guess that's where we're going to leave it. If I don't see any other questions. But in any case, I want to thank you guys for the questions. And even when I go in on you guys who are asking some of the questions, I just ask out of love. It's out of love. It's out of appreciation. I appreciate you guys watching. I appreciate you guys asking. I appreciate the thought, the well-intentioned of all these. Every question that's asked is always well-intentioned. It's always from a desire of improving yourselves and improving the community. Actually, I do see a question. I think it's a great way to leave out today's Haiti Biz news session, which is how far do you plan on taking this journey, right? And I answer that I'm going to answer this really in 2 ways. The first is my desire has always been, to create as many jobs as possible. Period. I'm an entrepreneur first before I'm a media personality, and so I want as many ventures, creating as many jobs as possible. Period. And so that's number one. I want folks to think, oh, you're doing something in Haiti. Oh, you should look up SeeJeanty because he's done such incredible work, and he has so many resources available. You should look at what he's doing, and do like him. Right. That's really where I want this journey to be. On the entrepreneurial side of things, and knock on wood, God will keep me safe and healthy, and I'll be able to execute that for many decades to come. That depends on God. The other lane is when it comes to the media side. In 2-3 years, I won't be nearly as visible on the media side as I am now, right? 2-3 years from now, we're building infrastructure here on SeeJeanty to basically have a team of journalists to actually be able to do the show, actually have a journalist here just giving you the news, giving it to you every day, right? Going out on location, interviewing ventures that are announcing and doing things, right? In short, and this is not just Haiti Biz news, but SeeJeanty, et cetera, have in effect a studio. Again, I have so much respect for Tyler Perry and what he's been able to do. He's with himself, and the fact that he has the largest studio, it's a black-owned studio, largest studio in the world, larger than Disney. And that's inspirational as hell to me. Inspirational as hell to me, right? And why not have SeeJeanty Studios? Why not have Hypro Studios somewhere in a large swath of land somewhere? And we're focused on news. We're focused on films, Creole films, Haitian films. We're focused on the imagery of Haiti and telling our story and providing other people the avenue to also tell a uniquely Haitian story to not only Haitians, but to the world, right? And so, knock on wood, God gives me life. God keeps me the direction that I'm going. I would love to be there, in those two lanes, know that I am a part of creating that entity that can provide control over our media and our story and who we are to ourselves and to the world. And also on a personal sense, continue to employ as many Haitians that deserve jobs and opportunity as possible and be a part of that job creation and value creation and know that I am a part of moving Haiti in a direction that is much more economically sufficient. All right. So thanks for that question. That's where we're going to leave it. We'll be back next. I'm so used to next Sunday because it used to be every Sunday show. We'll be back next month. Luckily for me, I do have. This month was the first month I had assistance with a show note writer in-house here in my company who's been helping me put the show notes together. It's helped me tremendously in terms of the time I used to take to create my show notes. Now that I'm just more of a reviewer of my show notes. And so there's possibility that sometime soon I'll be able to maybe even do this twice a month again. Just that I'm just doing a lot of stuff. You can't raise $300,000+ of someone else's money and have nearly as much free time as you used to. And so my priority right now is being the steward of this massive investment project that I'm working on, in addition to some other big ventures that I'm working on as well that I can't quite talk about just yet, but I look forward to sometime soon. And so that's kind of where my energy and time is right now. But the show notes has helped. And so certainly the moment we can do Haiti Biz news more often, we will. And certainly before the end of the year, I'm going to see if I can figure out a way to get someone to be on camera instead of just me telling you guys the news, because the news is what we're doing here is more important than just me. It's not about me showing my face here. And though I do appreciate connecting with so much of you guys, it's really about the mission and the work and the informing, and it doesn't have to be me doing it. So hopefully maybe towards the end of the year, we'll be at a place where I can bring somebody on and that can still happen, right? So yes, that's it. I appreciate you guys. If you haven't seen, we dropped a lot of new content on YouTube. Make sure to go check it out. Lots of new videos that have been coming out every week. So do check it out. It's been exceptional to have done thus far what I've done. It's been through the work and assistance of the great team I have here that I work with. Don't forget that I have a book out. If you guys enjoyed the conversation we had today, don't forget, grab a book, 101 Ways to Make Money in Haiti. Visionary, lucrative business ideas, insightful success stories, and interesting business opportunities for visionary entrepreneurs. And I didn't create this book to make money. I did it so all the people who hit me up for time, which I don't have, they're not left hanging in the wind. They have a place where they can get that information, right? And the little bit of money that I do ask, it goes not to my pocket, but it goes to supporting my team and their salaries and going out and all the different things we do, right? The SeeJeanty Action Group is where the conversation will continue, can continue. So do go follow the SeeJeanty Action Group, right? It's free. Doesn't cost a thing. Join it. It's a Facebook group. Join it, and be part of the conversation. I've had some really great conversations going in there. A lot of folks have appreciated this sort of safe space to really talk about the progressive ideas and the progressive things that they are wanting to do. Cindy B, as I can get the book. I just posted the link. It's high up. It's above. Do check that out. I did post the link. Okay. Don't forget the private WhatsApp group. It's a space with 25, 30 plus people who are, and we have an attorney available. It's a space where those who really, it's a sort of a ghetto Patreon in a way. It's where you are able to provide directly to what we have going on here. I provide folks early access to my videos in there, resources that I will end up sharing at a later date. The action group gets it first. I have an attorney in there, exceptional attorney who provides folks real consulting in the channel for everyone to learn from and gain in there. It's and plus, and most importantly, I'm in there. And those who really want to have a conversation with me, I don't do it one-on-one because I don't have the time to repeat everything I keep saying. So I wrote a book. It's there. But those who really want to conversate with me and get their idea expressed out and really want me to, come in and really help them flesh it out, join the WhatsApp group. I'm in there. I'm having conversations all the time. I bend myself backwards to provide value-added answers, and I provide my own resources. People will tell you, folks who've been a part of the WhatsApp group, I provide my contacts and my resources so you can be successful in what you're doing. I don't have to necessarily even agree with what you're trying to do, but if you're in my channel, you're in there because you're a person of action, and I'm gonna help you do what you want to do. And so it's $20 a month because it helps with what we're doing here in SeeJeanty Media against a sort of a Patreon model. But still, I am giving all my all to every single person in that WhatsApp group to help them with what they're doing. So I do suggest, if you want, it's available. If you don't have, there's other alternatives like the WhatsApp, like the private, the action group on Facebook that you can still, converse with others. And I do pop my head in there from time to time and then provide responses, right? But the private WhatsApp group is a direct way to do it, right? And don't forget, do go ahead and subscribe over to the SeeJeanty on Creole channel. Let me drop that link in there, the SeeJeanty on Creole channel, where we're dropping every video on Creole going forward, right? For as long as we're doing this media stuff, we're going to be dropping on Creole versions of SeeJeanty Media, okay? So that's where we're at. I appreciate it. You guys are real MVPs. We're on here for 3 hours and 15 minutes. Holy cow, man. Respect. You guys are real MVPs. We'll be back next month. Okay. Appreciate it. Thank you. And we'll be back at it again.